Good evening, everyone. This is John Wolf bringing you the Wolfpack Gaming Podcast, episode 3. I'm so excited tonight to be joined by someone that I consider one of the best voices in all gaming, one of the best gaming content creators out there in the game right now. K Mega 405. How you doing tonight, sir?
Man, like I told you earlier, man, it's a blessing, man. Really appreciate the kind words. But yeah, I'm doing good, man. Doing good, good. A little tired from Fight Night Sunday because I usually go really long, but because I kind of chill out on my Mondays. But other than that, man, when I heard the call, man, I had to come, man. I had to come. But I'm doing good, man. How are you doing?
Doing well, man. Thank you. Got off of work and stuff, and I'm like, you know what? Let me hit up K Mega and let's get this done, man. Because I'm so excited to talk to you, man. Like I mentioned, just to start off the show here, I know you've been doing this. I did a little research, K Mega. I've been subscribed to you for about 5 months now. I discovered you on
Sure.
the next podcast that's hosted
Yeah.
by Xbot. He does a great job. All of you guys do a great job. You entertain me every single Thursday listening to your opinions and all that good stuff. But I know that you've been, from what I can see, I mean, you've been kind of hosting your own YouTube, shows and stuff like that for over 7 years, believe it or not, man. I
Yeah,
look back.
on and off. Yeah, on and off. Yeah, I started off about 7 years ago. Then I had a serious situation happen, got into a bad breakup. My grandfather passed away.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Just oh yeah, no, yeah, just life. Just like what everybody else goes through. And so I had to just step away for a while. And so I stepped away for about a year and a half. Was trying to still do content, but my heart wasn't in it. And so
Yeah.
then I got in touch with well, I should say one of my friends got in touch with me for Red Beam, said, "Hey man, there's somebody I want you to talk to," which was 100, and then it kind of sparked, and then I got with Intro Media Gaming with that crew, and then after that, yeah, just things just started rolling, and yeah, ran into meet Next Gen 720, Crap, Mooch. Well, actually, this was before Mooch even got on. But yeah, and then Xbox 448. Me and Xbox 448 goes way back to when I very first started. But it was just a little Facebook thing before we was even podcasting. And we did that together, and we was just talking, got to know each other, and then that's when me and Xbox got tight once after he was deciding to want to do his podcast. He talked to me about it, and I became the co-host, and then we just been doing it ever since, man. Like that's my road dog, man. Me and Xbox
That
448 go that far back, man, a lot way back.
That's awesome, man, and
Yeah.
all that sounds wonderful. And congratulations on the long road, man. And I know that all the trials and tribulation have brought you to kind of where you are today. And like I said,
Yeah.
man, honestly, as I was telling you in the green room, real fast, just again to give you roses, man. I think that I listen to a lot of podcasts, gaming centric podcasts,
Mhm.
primarily Xbox, as we both are Xbox first gamers. But
Yeah.
you're definitely up there for me, man. And the reason that I say that is because, like I
That's
mentioned
awesome.
before, your thoughts are well articulated. When even when you throw smoke, you throw
Yeah.
it, but you do it in a way that you're just not like hating or
No.
it's
Right.
coming from a place of, oh, whatever, I don't care about. No, I mean, you're really answering the question, obviously your opinion, but you
Right.
also throw facts out there of why, and you back up your opinion, which is always important. Everyone can have their own opinion, but it's
Right.
just as long as it's done in a respectful way, not in a hating way or anything like that. Of course, man. I mean, everybody appreciates that. In life, we should value feedback. That's how everybody gets better. Even these big corporations, man, they need
Yeah.
the feedback from us. So that's you're definitely up there on the ladder, man. So I just want to
Well,
let you
man,
know that one more time, brother.
man, that's
If we're
amazing,
recording
man.
it.
Yeah.
So
No, it's amazing. I like I said, it's an honor to hear that. I'm just a regular guy, just like everybody else. So from hearing that from another adult, another gamer, that it really touches me. So man, I really do appreciate that. But that's the one thing that I always promised myself that I would never do. I would never stoop myself to a level to where I would try to make hateful content towards anybody else. Now, will I say some things? Take a jab or two? Yeah, sure, but it's never in a way to where it's disrespectful or trying to demean somebody, because I wouldn't want that to be done to me, even though it has been. The fact of it is even when people sit here and get mad at me for what my opinions are, I'm still going to try to keep it professional. Never try to take it too low, because it just doesn't make any sense to name call or name drop or try to cause silly controversy over video games. It's never been that serious for me. But man, yeah,
Exactly.
I'm glad that you acknowledge that, because I've always been try to be respectful, and I love all gaming, man. So I know a lot of people have this perception of me of because I'm Xbox centric, that I hate PlayStation or that I hate Nintendo or PC or whatever. When I have all of these items right here in front of me, and I play on all of it. But I just feel that some people are blinded by the product that they enjoy. And there's times that I've given Xbox grief as well, or hell, if you want to say it, because there's
Yeah.
times that Xbox do need to hear about their shortcomings. And so if PlayStation has their shortcomings, Nintendo does too, PC also. So it's mobile gaming, VR. Uh, the gamers who love gaming will always have an opinion, and I feel that their voices should be heard. But let it be heard respectfully. Let's not, because
Yeah.
these people that we're talking to are human beings too, and they have feelings. So
Yeah.
that's always been my approach.
Yeah, man, and I think that even though that you have you can have your preferred platform and your favorite
Mm-hmm.
console and stuff like that. I think that what's important for people to remember, especially the young people out there, man. I'm gonna turn 39 years old tomorrow, man.
Oh
So
wow.
the older I'm getting, the more I realize that old Spider-Man saying, "With great power comes great responsibility." It's cheesy. It was made up back in the 60s or whatever, but it holds so true, man, especially for
Oh yeah.
all the content creators out there. I agree with you. It's so easy to just put a negative spin on everything, and drama sells, man. We all know that. But
Drama
when you
sells. Yes.
Yep. But when you take that high road and you say, you know what, I want my content to be different. Hey, you know what? At the end of the day, even if the numbers struggle, my integrity is the most important thing to me. Not any
Absolutely.
views, not any subscribers. My integrity. I hold myself to very high standards when it comes to how I treat others.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of those things that I appreciate about your response, man. And that's something that that's one of the reasons why as soon as I started listening to your opinions and your content, I'm like, man, K Mega is, he's a different dude. This guy deserves to be up there. This guy deserves to be in those high numbers, not all these negative channels that you see, man. So
All right.
that's some more praise on that way, man. So
So thank
we're
you.
gonna get into, you got it, man. We're gonna get into some topics today. K Mega, obviously, I want to talk to you about the Activision Blizzard acquisition from Microsoft. That's been the news dominating the week since last Tuesday. Huge. I mean, the year just started, brother, and they threw a nuke on us. And and I think that's going to be the biggest news of the year, in my opinion,
Oh yeah. Yeah. I don't see anything even touching that. Even if Xbox acquires something else this year, it's still not going to be as significant as this Activision Blizzard deal. That was especially just for the amount of money that was spent, just absolutely
Yeah.
crazy, just bananas.
Crazy, dude. So yeah,
Mhm.
man. But before we get started, man, I want you to kind of promote your channel and your shows. I know that you run the GRG podcast
Mhm.
every Friday. Congratulations on getting to 220 episodes this past
Woo!
Friday, man. What an
Yeah,
accomplishment, brother.
man.
220 of anything is something, man. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. Yeah, man. It has been a journey being starting off GRG and you just like with anything else, just like what you're doing here, it's a vision. You don't know if it's going to work. You don't know if it's going to, if it's even going to last. And to be here 4 to going on 5 years for GRG now is it's been an honor and a blessing. I mean, there's going to be people that come, the people that go. I have love and respect for all of them, regardless of if people may have a different opinion. I don't know. That's not me trying to say anything. I'm just saying in the sense of,
Yeah.
um, you know, it. They are just as much as a reason for the podcast to still be standing today
Absolutely.
because of their support. Like, I mean, I don't know if you know that, and I have to give a big shout out to Fonzarelli, because he,
Mm,
the last time that I was on Dealer's podcast, Fonzarelli just brought it up and just said, man, I have to give him props, I have to thank you, because he gave me my start on the GRG podcast. So if you go and listen to the earlier episodes of the GRG podcast, then that Fonzarelli was the first guy then he moved up, and I was
that's
happy
awesome,
for him
man.
all day. He got with Luca, and then of course 100 doing his thing. The ladies, Lady Infamous and the Lila HD, they got their own podcast. 108 Dragons, they doing their own podcast. So and the one promise that I told them all was that, look, man, I'm going to help promote. I'm going to try to get you guys to where y'all's channels are at least hitting close to 1,000, if not hit 1,000. And everybody's channel has done that. And so, and gone beyond. So I feel that, I'll always be proud of their accomplishments. I never hate on anybody's success, even if they blow me out of the water
No, of course not.
on subs and anything like that. It's an honor. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's a blessing to be to have a podcast to still go, to have 220 episodes, and it was a great episode last week. And so,
Yeah,
just
it
trying to
got
keep the
messy. It
momentum.
got messy, but it
It
was
got
fun, man.
it got messy. I was over there sipping on a little
Yep.
bit of something,
Yeah, but it was
but
awesome
it's all
though.
about having fun. Yeah, no, just we don't get too crazy, but we get crazy
Nah,
enough
nah.
sometimes.
It was
Yeah,
good, man. It was good, and they're
yeah,
honest opinions, man. And like I said, they're well backed up, and it was great, man. It was great. I enjoyed that episode. So I know that you also host Fight Night Sundays,
yes.
which is something that you're proud of because you're always promoting. Let me ask you, man, just for my curiosity, what are
Mhm.
some of your favorite fighting games of all time, man?
Woo, Tekken, always. Anything Tekken is always going, because that's my favorite.
Tekken Tag? How about Tekken Tag for the PS2? Where do you hold
Uh,
that one?
that's in the pinnacle
Yeah, for sure.
of Tekken 3, Tekken Tag, and then Tekken 6. Tekken Tag 2, and then Tekken 6. Tekken 7 I enjoy, but it took some you getting used to because of the way that it's structured. I'm kind of used to the cat and mouse strategy within the old way of how Tekken played.
Okay.
And this is more combo, fast pace with Tekken 7, but
Tekken 7's
it's
with Akuma, right? Akuma guest starring?
yeah,
Yeah, there you go.
yeah. So,
Yep.
but yeah, no, I Tekken, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, but I mean, the traditional ones from back in the days, Killer Instinct, believe it or
Woo.
not. I never was good at the old Killer Instinct. That just wasn't. But I always had a fascination. I would always be at the arcades trying to learn to play. Uh,
Just to hear that voice,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Because
Combo.
I go combo breaker, like
Yeah,
yeah.
man. That used to hype me up, man.
Oh man, so yeah, it was always great. But yeah, no, those were the ones. It goes back to also to games that was on the Sega. Eternal Champions was one of my favorite fighters.
Nice.
Um, yeah, and then you just got Star Gladiator, Power Stone, even though that's more of arena style, kind of like with
Yeah.
Smash Brothers and stuff like that. But yeah, no, there's a long list of just great fighters that I've played throughout my time. Toshinden,
Can I ask you about one?
yeah,
How about, did you ever play TMNT Tournament Fighters? You remember the Ninja Turtles that they had?
I was gonna say.
They were kind of going on that Street Fighter hype, trying to create their own little fighter.
N-
Dude, I played that for Super Nintendo nonstop.
I did not play that one. I did not play
Oh,
because I wasn't a Super Nintendo guy. I was a Sega
mm,
guy. And so
okay.
therefore I didn't get to start playing Super Nintendo games until once I picked up one. And then there was by that time we're talking about uh the OG Xbox era, the Dreamcast. So graphically games were much more superior, and so therefore I didn't go back and play too many fighters on the NES, on the Super NES. Play Fighter was one of them for sure.
Yeah.
There was another fighter, I cannot remember the name of it actually, but I thought it was pretty cool. But it was with like barbarians. It had kind of had like a Killer Instinct vibe to it, but I
It
can't
sounds
remember.
familiar.
Yeah, but I can't remember. But yeah, no, I did not get to play a lot of the NES fighters over there. So the Ninja Turtle ones, no, I did not get a chance to play that.
Oh man,
Unfortunately,
you gotta give it a try when you can, man.
I'm
I
gonna have to
mean,
find it. I'm gonna find it. I'm trying to
yeah,
look for an emulator for it and just see if I
dude,
can
there,
find it and play
Shredder all the way, brother. Shredder looks so badass.
it.
I'm a huge, I'm a huge sucker ever since I've been little. For I've been into comic books and video games my whole life, man. I even have a whole sleeve dedicated to Marvel
Oh,
villains here.
nice, nice, nice.
So for some reason it's not. I don't. The villains have drawn me in. I always thought they were so cool and all this
Oh
good
yeah,
stuff. But
yeah.
man, Shredder in that game looks so badass, and
Man,
his play style and everything is badass,
you're gonna
man.
make me go look for it. I'm gonna look
Yeah,
for it when we get off of here, man, for sure. I'm gonna
guarantee you,
try to
man. I
find it.
guarantee you'll
All
like
right.
it, man. So
And
so
and
let
I'm gonna and if I find it and then I get a chance to put it on there, I'm gonna show some gameplay because if you follow me on Twitter, I'm always showing gameplay or something.
yeah, for
And
sure,
so
brother.
I'll shout you out, man, for letting me know about it because I
For
did
sure,
not
man.
know
Give it a
know
try.
anything.
Give it a try,
Okay,
brother. I mean,
I will.
you definitely have to harken back to the Street Fighter 2 era. Remember, all these it's kind of like, think about it for the young people, for the young listeners. Think
Mhm.
about it how everybody's trying to copy Call of Duty nowadays because it's the
Oh
hot
yeah.
game. Back
Hmm.
back then, Street Fighter 2 was the hot game. So all these
Right.
franchises kind of started copying, the Street Fighter formula to try to create a fighter and cash in, So
Oh yeah, no,
definitely check
I've
that one
always
out.
yeah, I was one of those guys that I enjoy 2D fighters, but I've always been a big fan of 3D fighters, like Virtual
Yeah.
Fighter.
Okay.
Yeah, like and then like I was just or even if it wasn't really so much of a true 3D game, it still kind of maybe was 2D, but it had 3D graphics. Like you got EX Layer, or
Okay.
it was Street Fighter EX. That's what it was. But
Yeah.
there's a fighter out there now called EX Layer, which has the same type of characters in there. And then there was, like I was saying, Star Gladiator earlier. Um, Man, and Toshinden was another one of those games. I There's just so many Primal Rage, but that was a 2D fighter itself. But there was just so many fighters that I played. Pitfall at the arcades,
Would you say?
tons.
I mean, hearing you talk about it, man, and seeing as much as you post about it, is
Yeah.
it fair for me to say that the fighting genre is probably your preferred genre when it comes to gaming?
Second, actually, second preferred.
Oh, okay.
RPGs
What
is
would
my
be the?
first.
Ooh,
RPGs are my
okay,
first. I'm a unicorn. There's usually not people that likes sports games, uh, sports games and like RPG games. And so,
okay.
because normally when we see someone, you say something about like, oh man, like I play Madden, NBA 2K, things like that, and then I'll say, oh man, I love The Witcher 3 or something like that. What? So because normally people
Yep.
that like those type of games, they don't like the Maddens or things like that. And then if you're a fighter fan, you normally more normal fighter fans like sports games because of it's that a motto
Yeah.
competition style.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, no, I mean, yeah, RPGs has always been my first love. Always going back to starting when I got my butt kicked playing Rygar, and
No.
then finally realizing how to play it and learn it. And then I lost it every time that there had to be some kind of game that had those type of elements to it. I was always intrigued. So that's my
Awesome,
first
man.
love. That's my first
Awesome,
love.
man.
So.
So let me just throw this out there real fast, and not to make you choose from your kids, but what's your favorite RPG of all time, man?
Woo! Man, it is
Let's do it.
so
Let's make
tough.
it simple. Give me top three, man.
Okay. Uh Mass Effect. Um
One.
I was just saying the whole franchise.
Oh,
But
okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah,
So the
yeah, yeah.
trilogy,
The
the trilogy.
trilogy. The
Okay,
trilogy.
okay,
Yeah. The
okay.
Mass Effect trilogy. Man, and see, this is where it gets sticky because the second one has to be Final Fantasy. Final
Yeah,
Final Fantasy 7 got me into the JRPGs uh element of RPGs. And then this is where it gets crazy because I'm gonna have to give just a an honorary just a fourth one. So I'm gonna jump in. I'm gonna say Legend of Legaia um,
okay.
is gonna be the three, but I would be just a fool if I don't say it because I always talk about this, and that's The Witcher. That's The Witcher, man. The
I
Witcher.
mean, they CD Project Red, man, what they did with The Witcher 3 is just epic, dude. And I mean,
Witcher
it's
2
one
was
of
when I first got my start on it, and then I went and
okay.
played Witcher 1 on the PC. I didn't like that I had to use I'll say cat mouse, mouse and keyboard, but it still was a good game for at that time. And then when Witcher 3 dropped, it was just it was just like, wow, this
Game
is
changer.
yeah, this was just absolutely insane.
Game
So yeah,
changer, brother. Thank you for sharing that, man. That's good to know about
appreciate
you.
it.
So, yeah, man, for sure. All right, let's get into a fun question for you, K Mega. Let's say that the dust settles and this acquisition of Activision goes through for Microsoft. They will own so many IPs that let's say that they get crazy and they want one of these devs to make a Smash like, a Smash Brothers like game for them, and they start releasing characters and make a fighter game with all these characters in it. I'm gonna put you on the spot again, man. But I want to know what's the first character you pick, man, from all these IPs that Microsoft owns.
I mean, you gotta put in Halo. You got to put in Master Chief.
Master Chief, baby.
You got to put in Master Chief. That's you got to have Master Chief and Marcus Phoenix. As much as
No,
I'm a
but
huge
specifically, the
yeah
question was, what's the first character you pick? That's the question.
the first character I pick is Master Chief. Yeah, you gotta have Master Chief.
Not Spartan Locke, brother. You're gonna go against Spartan Locke?
I'm only going against Locke because in all fairness, that so everybody knows that I would want Locke to be in there, but
he should be.
He has to be that. Like if you make a game like that, you have to have him in there. But it would definitely have to. Yeah, but Master Chief is. I mean Xbox Master Chief. It's synonymous. It it has to be done. That's like Mario and Nintendo. You have to have it. So
absolutely,
that would be my first choice. Yeah.
Awesome choice, man. I think mine would be between Master Chief and Doom Guy. Cause let me tell you something. Doom 2016, brother, that game completely changed the first person shooter genre, in my opinion. It over the years, since it released, it has consistently been my go-to game. I find myself still playing Doom 2016, and it's kind of like I love it, man, because it's it's so visceral. It's it's so smooth. Just the gameplay, man, and that's definitely that id Tech is sweet, man. And that's something that I hope that Microsoft that they make if this acquisition goes through. They definitely the acquisition did go through for Bethesda. Excuse me. I definitely hope that one day we do see a Call of Duty with that id Tech, man. That'll be sick, in my opinion. But
you know what? I don't think that we're that far away from that to be in reality. I think either Call of Duty will definitely get a rehaul. We get rehauled, but I don't know if it's going to be Unreal Engine 5 or if it's going to be that technology that you was just talking about from Bethesda. So, or from the team who makes where I can't think of from Doom.
There you go.
Yeah. What was it? ID Software? I think that's the name of it. Yeah.
It's software.
Yeah, it's software. So yeah, no, either one of those would be absolutely fantastic. And you have the coalition helping out if it's Unreal Engine 5, and then of course that you would have the id Software team helping out, just making so yeah. Call of Duty the latest Call of Duties has been looking great. Like they've enhanced the graphics on it, but of course they haven't really gone away from what Call of Duty has been. They've always played it safe.
Yeah, that engine.
Right, that engine. So here now, what you can do is kind of take the time, because we already heard that they're saying that they want to make it annual, not annual. So take a couple of years off, what I'm saying, get it together, and then bring just overhaul that game and make it look better than it ever has. And please, for the love of God, give us destructible environments. let's get that going. Let's do. I don't, of course, you don't want to step on the toes and try to do um, everything like Battlefield,
Right.
but you do. But you know what I'm saying. But it would be sweet to see if somebody shooting a rocket, and then part of the building blows up, or you got a tank shoot something, or if you got like something that could some major destruction. That has always been one of those things that annoyed me about Call of Duty, and that would just bring a whole different element to the game. And then take away campers. I would just, it'd just be great. It'd be great.
Yep. That
Mhm.
sounds like good, man. And definitely,
Yeah.
this is the type of acquisition and these are the type of possibilities that are now a reality.
Mhm.
I know that we're kind of joking around and we're saying what if scenarios, but it could come
Mhm.
true, because of acquisitions like this.
Right.
So before we get into the whole acquisition thing, K Mega,
Mhm.
I want to get to know you a little bit better, man. Your gaming I would say your gaming career. Let's call it that.
Pretty much, yeah.
Uh,
Career.
yeah, it's like a job interview. Your
Yeah,
gaming
yeah, yeah,
career.
yeah, yeah. I'm paying them to have a gaming job career.
Yeah,
Yeah, but listen.
exactly, brother. But this is what we do, man. If you're listening and you get it, man.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, man. Let's take you back to baby K Mega here, all right? So
Yep.
little K Mega here.
Yep.
Tell me what was your first system that you owned, man, that you can kind of remember. How it felt, the games you played, that kind of was your introduction to gaming.
Um, uh, Arcades were my first introduction to gaming, but first console was the Atari 2600 with the wood grain. And
Yeah.
The first game that I got was Dodge 'em. Um, and it was similar to Pac-Man, but you were driving these little cars, and it had a little different sound than the Atari's Pac-Man, because I eventually got the Pac-Man on there as well. But those that and then Pong, and then there was oh man no, I was going to say Defender, but I don't think it was. I think that was on in television where I played Defender. So let's just stick with those three. And then, of course, later on down the line, I did get ET for Christmas. So,
Woo! That game's in the middle of Nevada somewhere, right? Your copy?
bro, bro, yeah, yeah. I didn't know how to play it because, of course, nobody could, and I didn't understand it at the time. But only thing I could remember doing with ET was just basically lifting up his head, running around, and I would get killed every time. Lift his head up and down. That's it. And get killed. It was horrible. But
Brother, the youth of today has no idea what a bad game is, man. No
bro,
idea.
bro, like it, no idea. And I understand that a lot of people have got this nostalgia of going to play back, want to play these hard, some call them roguelike or just kind of difficult type games. Man, that was pretty much every game that you wanted to play on the
Yeah.
NES or on the Sega Genesis back then,
No
on
memory
Atari,
cards,
whatever.
no memory cards, no
No,
cloud saves.
no,
If you wanted to save your game, keep your console on, go
yeah.
where you got to go and hope to God that the power doesn't go out.
Right. That's it. That's it. That's it. Yeah, that was our save back then. That
Yep.
was our save. And just hope that like nobody else in the house, like you mean if your
Oh
grandma
yeah.
was around or somebody, because what you doing running electricity. What is this thing doing on? So there would be times that I would turn this wasn't with Atari, but with the NES, I would turn the NES backwards so nobody could see the little light on. So like if anybody saw that the light was on, and then I would turn off the TV and then go outside and play or whatever, and then come back, and then I was like, okay, all right, let's let this
I do
game.
have I do have a memory from my childhood. My dad, we had gotten the NES. It's my first console that I ever owned, and
Mhm.
my dad would help me out to kind of go through the levels, and he would enjoy playing too. But I remember that we were getting so far in Super Mario World, man, that first one, and
Mm.
Mario one, and I remember he was like on World 7 or 6, I don't remember, but we're
Oh,
so
yeah.
close to the end, brother. And
Mhm.
my mom turned off the NES, and my dad used to kind of get mad at different things, but my
Yeah.
dad got so pissed that she turned off
Oof.
that NES, and that I still remember that to this day, man. It's like,
Wow.
and he was
Wow.
like, "What are you doing?" And, oh, man, it was classic, man. But but yeah, man. So
Man.
yeah, for sure. So let me ask you, man, what during what age or what stage do you of the arcades do you remember first being exposed to them? Because I remember my early exposure was like MK1, Street Fighter
Mhm.
2, Street Fighter Turbo. Like what kind of is your stage that you first got introduced to arcades?
Pinball was the first arcade type, not a technically not an arcade, but it was a pinball machine at this little convenience store that I could usually can walk to or ride my bike to, and then like that was my first experience with it. Then um, arcade wise, my mom used to go to the laundromat all the time, and so my mom would take me with me, would take me with her, and to get her out of here, she would give me a couple of quarters. And then this wasn't like arcades, the tall one; these were the table arcades. So
Gotcha,
that was
gotcha.
my very first experience, and the very first game that I played was Pac Man. And then the next game they seen that it was a success, like because I mean there was a lot of kids that would always come in there spend a quarter. So then they brought two more machines. The other one was Joust,
Okay.
and that changed my life because Pac-Man was cool, but Pac-Man reminded me of Dodgem. So like so um but when I was like I was saying, when I was really young, when I was around 3 years old, I was playing pinball, and then but then when I got around the 5, 6 year old range, that's when I started going. I started really remembering me going and playing on the table arcades, and then uh, Pac Man, not Miss Pac Man, but just regular Pac Man, and then Joust came. Then there was Defender, and then there was and then right after that they added what they added Miss Pac-Man at that point, and then that's how I got exposed and I got hooked, and then I was like, more. Do y'all have, is there any more? And then when they would bring a new
Yeah.
one,
Yeah,
then
for sure.
they brought Centipede, and then it had the little ball on it. That was it. That was all she wrote for me. I was like, I became a gamer for life just at the arcades, and
For
then
sure.
yeah,
You started
and then so
appreciating the art form, and the different
right.
machines and the different arcades, the different play styles. It really intrigued you and it really captured you.
Right, right. And I always wanted at that time because I had the Atari at that time, wanted the Atari games to look like the arcade games. So of course,
Yeah,
you
impossible.
know, yeah, impossible. Did
Yeah.
you think it as a child, you didn't comprehend that, but yeah,
Yeah.
that was the first thing. So that's why arcades was like I would say arcades was the first thing that really got me gravitated into gaming deeply because I
Yeah.
always had to find a way. That's why I started at the age of like 6 or 7, going out there asking people if they want me to cut their yards and stuff like that and give me a couple of bucks. And people when they would just tell me to cut the front yard. Now when I got
Yeah.
older and I started like doing other little stuff, they're like, oh no, you've cut all the yard, but they would let me cut the front yard, and then they would come out and help me, and then they give me a couple of bucks, and then the first thing I do is I take that out there and go straight to the
Dude,
or to the laundromat.
that sounds so awesome. I know that, as kind of like a way to take me out and have fun and stuff like that. My mom and dad, what they used to do is there was a local mall that we used to go to, and there was
Mhm.
an arcade in there. And K Mega, to this day, man, I still remember it like if it was happening right in front of me.
Right.
It was right next to the theater. And
Mhm.
it wasn't such a big place, but it was kind of packed with arcades and stuff. Man, I
Mhm.
remember as soon as you walked in, the first machine they had, brother, T2, the arcade game. And
Oh,
and it was around that time that Terminator 2
I
had
was
come
thinking
out.
that.
And then you
Oh
look to the
man,
left, brother, and the Simpsons arcade game was there. And then they had Aliens, and then Aliens versus Predator. They had all of those
man,
Capcom beat 'em ups, man. And I
yes.
just, dude, that was kind of like my era, and
Mhm.
and all those games were, dude, imagine, to me, during, especially in that age, you see like what you were saying, to compare, to kind of give the viewers an idea. Back then, arcades were like the PCs of today. They
Right.
were top of the
Absolutely.
line, upper
Mhm.
echelon. You know, they were up
Mhm.
there. And then when you would go home and you would play on your NES, I mean, or your NES or your Super Nintendo, Sega, whatever,
Right.
you would be like, man, I mean, Mortal Kombat doesn't look that good here.
No,
You know,
no,
so
no.
you know,
Right.
so just to give the viewers kind of an idea what we're talking
Oh
about here.
man. Right. Like I remember going to the arcade, and I would go crazy on Ninja Gaiden
Ooh,
on the arcade. And it was two player. You had there was I think it was a purple and then a blue ninja that you could, if you did the two-player
that's
co-op.
right.
And
Yep.
then and I would always love the animations of the flipping on the bars. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh man, and then of course the fighting and stuff. And and it was a beat 'em up. It was beat 'em up, but then when you go and play the NES version, because I remember going back to renting games, going to a video store and
Blockbuster,
renting. Well, it wasn't even a Blockbuster at that time. It was just like just a regular video store,
okay.
because so it was called Video Haven. um and then they would have NES games and stuff like that, and then they had Ninja Gaiden. So I got crazy hype, like because I'm thinking of the arcade, and then when I did it, I'm like, this doesn't look anything like this. But I still I was disappointed with that, but I still enjoyed it because I
Still appreciated it, man.
still appreciated it. Yeah.
And you
So
wouldn't dog it, you wouldn't dog it like the
mm-mm,
people from today that they dog these games, and it's like, you guys have no idea how good this looks. Yeah, it's
right,
not the greatest game and whatever. It's not, it's not The Witcher 3. It's not, but it's playable. It's a good game.
right, right,
But now if a game
right,
gets a 7, it's considered crap. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
right. Like,
But
one more point on that too is that
yeah,
what people don't understand is that when you bought games back then, that's it. There was no patches. There was no fixes. That
yep,
game came in as is. If it was broken, if it didn't play properly, if it had all these glitches, all that, whatever, so be it. You could even sometimes you could even take those games back. When you got to the point to where you had certain games that cost like 60, 70,
oh
80
yeah,
bucks.
oh yeah, for sure.
Well, yeah, like no. People wanted. My mom was like, "Are you crazy? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
$80 for a toy." And so next thing you know, that's when she was like, "Oh, they got these stupid little games that you like to play over here at the video store. If you want to come and pick a couple out, I got she's like, I got a card. I just signed up, and so I could get 2 free items. And so she was like, so she was picking up her movies, and so I was like, hey, can I get 2 free games? Like, I'm thinking this, no. You just get 1 game. So,
Yeah,
and you was
yeah.
just appreciative of it because you could play it if it could go through. Like, I remember a game called the Power Rangers on NES.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
Game was very, very difficult to play. Um, and I still appreciated it. I enjoyed the hell out of it, but it was, but I couldn't get that far in it, but I still appreciated that game. And I think a little bit of what us older gamers, how we feel about games today, we find appreciation with whatever that is presented. Yeah, of course, we're not looking, sometimes we know that there's not going to be every game that we play is not going to be masterpieces, but
Yep.
we do know that this game is not as bad or as broken as some people today try to label these games. It blows my mind of how people just so fickle these days.
Absolutely, man. That's a great point. And let's think about too from a standpoint of like, these MCU movies that have come out and they have
Mm.
completely dominated the box office. Listen, man, when I was growing up, that Captain America movie from the 80s,
Oh,
dude,
bro.
come on. You can't compare, but you got to kind of go and watch these things during the time to kind of appreciate where we are today.
Right.
Even this past weekend, me and the wife, we watched the newest Spider-Man movie.
Oh, yeah.
And
Real good.
seeing Toby up there and stuff like that, and all of their scenes that they were together, dude, I had such an appreciation for that because I was
Mm-hmm.
there.
Right.
I can appreciate Toby as Spider-Man. Even Andrew Garfield, even though the movies were okay, but you can kind of appreciate that because You know, you went through it. Those were the movies of your time. So it's one of those things that now not to keep on harping on it and not to beat a dead horse, because we keep on
Yeah,
saying the same things over
pretty
and
much.
over again. But I just wish that the people today that are so quick to judge and things like that, I just wish that they kind of had a different lens, man, kind of like we do, where we can
Right.
find an appreciation or something positive about anything that comes out, man. And I think that that's what separates us from the herd, man. And to be
No
honest with
doubt. No doubt. No doubt.
you,
No doubt. Totally agree.
so yeah, man. So what would you say, Atari first system you owned?
Mm-hmm.
Did you graduate then to the big boys? To the Master System, to the Sega Genesis, and anything like that?
Oh yeah, no, yeah. I remember my grandfather found my grandfather was he was a trash man, and so he people would just throw away stuff, and so somebody threw away a Commodore 64,
Ooh, okay.
and we cleaned it up. He was like, I don't know, and I didn't know anything about it. I just had a friend. I had a friend that we used to go ride bikes and stuff together, and then we was talking about it, and we went over to his house, and he had it, and then he taught me how to play it because I didn't know I even turned the thing on. And so, because if you remember, it had that little digital pad and the little spin thing. I didn't know how to do anything with it, and so then um, he showed me how to play it, and then after that, that's when I first played my first football game. And so yeah, no, so I graduated from that. I went to that, played a little bit of that. Only got like one other game with that, and that was Defender. That was when I played Defender, and I played the football game. Then it was the NES with Jeromite, mind
Ooh,
you. So
okay, okay.
yeah, yeah, I got that for Christmas. Was hype.
I know. Come on, I know you had Duck Hunt, right?
Oh yeah, that came with it. Yeah,
Yeah,
like yeah,
come
the
on,
Jeremiah.
man.
Yeah, Duck Hunt. That was the first game that my grandparents actually played. They enjoyed that. They got mad at the dog. I remember my grandfather. He always smoked a cigar. He threw a cigar at the TV. It's like stupid ass dog. And so, so
and before
yeah,
the mods and the cheats and the drop shots and your modded
yes.
controllers, hey man, all you had to do was put the gun against the screen
The
and
TV
there you
and
go.
let loose. Let loose. That
There
was
you
it.
go.
Yeah, then of course moved over to Sega, and the one thing that got me onto Sega was Mortal Kombat, because the Super NES would look better and run better, but the one factor that kept me away from it and made me choose to get um, a Sega Genesis was because of the blood factor, the gore.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
so then I was like, okay. So I went there, got that, and then it was Joe Montana's football and Earthworm Jim and Toe Jam and Earl, and then there was Battletoads. And I know Battletoads was on, but that my experience of Battletoads was on the Genesis, and then there was a game called Shinobi, changed my life
Yeah.
over
Oh
there.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Changed my life over there, and then I just became a huge Sega fan
Were you
after
an Echo the Dolphin fan?
I was an Echo the Dolphin fan. I did like Echo the Dolphin. The I liked Echo. I'm trying. I mean, there was just so many. Like, and then that's when my first console fighter that I didn't get a chance to play on in an arcade that I got deep into, and that was Eternal Champions. Like, I'm like, wow, like this is amazing. And so then I graduated from that to the Sega CD, and then
Woo.
there was Sewer Shark and the Sonic CD, and then there was
Yep.
Eternal Champion CD, and then there was this game that I loved to death, and Ghost Tokyo, and the new game that's coming out on PlayStation will come out on Xbox next year. Ghostwire Tokyo, I think that's the name
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
It has this resemblance to this game that was on Sega CD called Supreme Warrior.
Oh, I
I
don't know about
love.
that.
I I normally, I play, you know, I would play games, and if I would beat it, I would kind of be done. But there's certain times that there was games that I would go back to and I would play. That game at one particular time was one game I constantly just kept going back, even after I beat it. I just kept going back because I loved the way that it was. It was like like, okay, I don't know if you were familiar with Night Trap and Sewer Shark and how that
Yeah.
looked with the camera, with like, like
Yeah.
the real life. Yeah, that was the same way that Supreme Warrior was. And only thing you seen was the character's hands or feet. And then the more that you fought, that you could gain powers and you would hit them with powers. And so you're looking at people trying to fight you and you're blocking. And oh my God, it was so
I'm gonna look it
amazing.
up. I'm gonna look it up for sure. It sounds interesting.
Yeah, just watch the gameplay of Supreme Warrior. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about with the Ghostwire Tokyo game and how I feel like there's some similarities to it. But the second CD was a masterpiece for me. Loved it. Then I had a child in high school, so things definitely changed for me. And
Oh
so
yeah.
yeah,
Wow,
so then
that's a big jump and a big responsibility, brother. So that'll
right.
definitely that is what they call a game changer right there.
Game changer. And so so I still had my old NES when my son got up, and then of course I graduated from that to the PlayStation 1. And then my son always wanted to try, and little kids, they always want to try to play what you're playing. And so I would let him play the old NES because I still had it. And but no, he wanted to play the PlayStation. And so I would give him a controller, but I wouldn't hook it up, and I let him feel like he was playing the game.
Yeah, like he's like, yeah, I'm doing all these great things.
Yeah,
You're like, yeah, keep it up, keep it up,
keep it
kid.
up, keep it up, champ. Yeah, keep it up, champ. And then of course graduated to the PlayStation 2. At that point, between that time, I got a Jaguar. It was not Jaguar was just not a good console. I mean, it was a powerful console, but it wasn't a
How about
good
that
console.
Aliens versus Predator, man?
Did not play that on there. I played Primal Rage, and then Primal Rage looked great. But remember, there was a console that came out at that time called the Magnavox.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean,
was it the 3DO?
The 3DO.
Yeah. There you go.
The 3DO. It was the 3DO, and I remember, I'm still in high school. At my later years of high school, and I remember I would sit there and I was just at the store with my kid and my mom, and so I was just so happy, just like, hey, hey, how about you? I'm saying, you ain't got me a big Christmas gift in a long time. How about you hook me up with this thing? She's like, are you out your damn mind? I think it was like $600, and so yeah, no, I never got a chance. I got a chance to play one years later, but I never owned one. And then so. At that point, of course, time flew. I got rid of the Atari Jaguar, and then I got a Nintendo GameCube for my son. And at that point, he introduced me to Smash Brothers. I hated that controller on the GameCube, so
I know what you mean.
Yeah, I could stand it. And then of course I graduated to the Dreamcast because I'm like, okay, Sega's back. PlayStation, you in trouble now, and then the PlayStation 2 dropped, and that was all she wrote. And then Xbox came around, but the weird thing about how I got into Xbox, I had a friend that was in the military, and somebody just gave it to him because they were going over there overseas to go to I think to the Iraq War actually, and so they. And so he was telling me about it, and I was like, because at this time I was a PlayStation nut. Still love my Sega, but I was a PlayStation.
You were knee deep in PS2.
Well, after PlayStation 1, I was a PlayStation fanboy, like crazy.
Yeah.
But I still always had my love for Sega though. And then but when the PlayStation 2 dropped, and then they was talking about the Xbox, I was like, man, I don't care about no Xbox, man. Y'all, whatever. So
did you watch? And I'm sorry to interrupt you, but if you watch that documentary Xbox recently came out with, I mean, it really hit home, especially when they started, really showing the struggle that they had to push the Xbox as a console to this market that was being dominated, dude, by Sony so heavily that I remember, kind of like what you're saying. the first time that I heard about it and the first time that I actually saw a kiosk for the original Xbox, it was running Project Gotham Racing. And I was so skeptical, man. I saw that controller, the Duke, and I'm like, what are these people doing, dude? You know,
Right.
I was knee deep in PS2 as well. I'm like, man,
Ooh.
Sony can do no wrong right now.
Right,
PS2 is
right.
dominating, but things change, man. But we'll get there. But
Yeah.
so let me. So I'm sorry to interrupt you. You want to finish
No,
your
you're
thought
fine.
there that you were saying?
Yeah, no, I'll be quick. I said I just kind of you said the history, so I'm just like, let's go.
Yeah,
probably
no,
back.
you're good. You're good.
Good night, baby. So then I had another friend. I got tons of friends in the military. So I had another friend who got one. He somebody, because there was a lot of people get shipped off in the war. And so he was like, man, I got this thing, this Xbox. I said, man, tell me about that stupid thing. Tell me about this Xbox, man. I didn't know about I never seen a commercial, nothing. Like, what are you talking about, man? And then so he's like, man, come over here, man. Let's he said, man, help me learn how to play. I said, man, I don't want to play. I said, man, I'll just bring the PlayStation over. He says, man, come on, man. And so long story short, we sit there, I go over there, and then he introduced me to this game called Halo. He says,
yeah,
and so I hated shooters. There was only two shooters that I enjoyed at that time. One was 007 on the Nintendo, was GoldenEye, and then Time Splitters. Those were the only shooters that I liked. Right? Like,
I still hate that little character as a fish in Time Splitters. I freaking hate that character, dude.
Oh man, I see them both on backwards compat. I'm gonna have to get them just for the nostalgia purposes.
Yeah.
Because there's a sale going on. I don't know if the sale's gonna be over. Probably.
Yeah, I picked up part 2 actually a couple of days ago.
Really, I think I might have to risk it all and go ahead and get $3 and get it. But anyway, so I seen the Duke for the very first time, and I said, "What the hell is this thing? This thing is huge." And I was like, "Man," and I was
a surfboard.
I was dogging. I said, "This is why PlayStation's better." I like if a PlayStation fan heard me how I was talking back then, how compared to like now how they perceive me, they were like, "What? How? Why did this change?" And like I was just dogging out the Xbox, and so we was trying to learn it, and of course it was so difficult because the head motion and then the body motion with the analogs, that took so long for us to figure out.
Even the placement, right? The placement that Xbox
like,
went with, you see that and you're like, do these people even know what they're doing?
Right. Like, I'm like, this is so stupid. And you know what I'm saying? Because I keep looking down and I'm shooting. I'm like, this is dumb. I was just tripping, man. I was so upset. And I was just mad because my friend kept on trying to talk me into doing this, but eventually something happened. Well, another homeboy came through, and then something happened to where we all what caught my attention was that he was like, "Oh yeah, you can play too. You can play too." What? I said that thing got an adapter because remember PlayStation 2 had that 8 thing, the 8 controller adapter thing, and he's like, "No, there's like a 4-player thing on here automatically."
I said, co-op.
Yeah, like you could play 4. Well, we didn't call it co-op. We didn't know what the hell to call it back then. But
I got you.
Yeah. So I was like, you can play 4 players.
I think for the PlayStation it was called the multi-tap.
That's exactly what it was called. Yep, it was the multi-tap. And then and so I was like, wait a minute. Oh. And so that perked my interest. Like, okay, this came with you didn't have to buy anything extra. And so then I was like you were saying, I was skeptical, and I'm like, this thing ain't gonna work. And then it did the 3 split screen, and I was like, what? And so then that enticed me because then the other homeboy was really trying, and he was getting the hang of it before. And like I said, this is like 2-3 hours going in. Me and my other friend was just dumbasses. I was half into it. He was trying to learn. He was frustrated with me because I didn't really care. And then the other homeboy was like, "Oh, this is all right." And so then competition as men, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm going to learn it now." And then long story short with that, we started to play the multiplayer aspect of it. And next thing you know, we called in another friend. We did 4-player co-op. We played. He hit me up at like 10 o'clock, 10:30 in the morning, and we played Halo until about 2:00 the next day.
Wow.
Straight.
Yep.
Like, I mean, we took a couple of breaks, but I have never played games like that in, I mean, years. At this point, we grown men, and like, we haven't played games like that. I was almost kind of like after the Dreamcast era, I was kind of like, I love my PlayStation, but I got work responsibilities. I'm kind of almost getting out of the game. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, it's time, maybe I'm just getting too old for gaming. Halo brought that all back. And then it was a shooter on top of that, changed everything. And then the thing that got me to get one was my friend because he bought Madden too. And then I seen the difference in graphics with Madden. And then I said, what is going on here? How are you playing music on this thing? He says it's got a hard drive.
What? You're like, what's that?
What is it? What? And so, I said, a thing that you put in a computer? And he said, yeah. And so he put in a disc. The thing read the disc. That was it. That did it for me. And I got the Xbox, and I kept kind of finding myself playing more and more on the Xbox. And then the 360 dropped, and then that was all she wrote.
For sure. Before we get to the 360, though, let's go back to a couple of things that you said about the Xbox and kind of that standpoint of those points that you made about all the features that the Xbox introduced to console gaming, right?
Yeah.
And that's something that, as Xbox fans, I think that me and you can kind of agree that from the inception of the Xbox as a brand, they have evolved gaming. They have pushed the goalposts forward. They have always innovated. They have pushed the envelope, and they have said, you know what, we're going to kind of future-proof this in a way. And even going back to that original Xbox, like you mentioned, when I remember, check this out. I remember the moment that I had my aha moment, and it's going to be something so dumb, but check this out. So,
all right,
if you remember, I had a GameCube, I had a PS2. The Xbox was the last console that I got. All right, I was skeptical, just like you. I wanted to have all three systems, so I'm like, you know what? I see Xbox is bringing out some cool looking games. I see that they have that Halo game everybody's talking about. I got a bunch of friends in school talking about it. Let me pick it up. So I went ahead and I picked it up. I was making my own money by then, and my aha moment came the moment that I saw that they had the breakaway cable. Okay.
Oh, wow.
That breakaway cable, dude, completely changed. As dumb as that sounds, because Halo changed the game for me as well. Because when I saw, the quality of the graphics, the gameplay, the shooter mechanics, all that stuff, obviously that game made me an Xbox fan right there, then and there. But that small detail, believe it or not, K-Mega, as dumb as that sounds, to me, told me, wow, you know what? Whoever's in charge of making this brand and this console is kind of thinking how us gamers are thinking, that you know what, as simple as that sounds, you don't know how many times my mom would pass by and I would, Mom, be careful, and that breakaway cable, I mean, it takes a gamer to know that those are things that you would want as a console. And fast forward all the way to now, dude, with Phil Spencer, and we'll get to him later on, but with Phil Spencer, I still think that Xbox still has that as part of their DNA to push gaming forward. So that, I just want to throw that out there, kind of tell you my aha moment when it came to Xbox.
No, that was amazing, because I mean, it was little things like that, like you mentioning, that just opened up a whole nother aspect of like, whoa, wait a minute, like, you're so used to things being a traditional way.
Yes.
And then like when you see something foreign like that, you're like, wait a minute. Like, I mean, it's just like I was saying, like the hard drive was the thing that got me. Like, you can play your music while playing the game.
Yeah. I was so trained. I was so trained by PlayStation that I bought a memory card with the Xbox, thinking that I needed them. Yeah.
I did the same thing. And then I'm like, minute, it has a hard drive. I don't need it, but I just did the same thing. And the only thing
we were trained
was portable. Yeah, we were trained. And I can tell you how many times that I bought memory cards for the PlayStation, and you would label them and stuff like that. And like, I told you I'm big on sports games. And so in NCAA, what we would do is that me and the homies would get together. We would get uh, college magazines, and we would all take turns
putting the real
putting
names.
all the real names into the game, and then we save it into a hard drive, and then we label it. And then
that is so awesome, dude.
Yeah.
By the way, shout out to the University of Miami, baby. You
man. I
got you, brother.
Okay, this is the way, but hold on. Where hold on. I gotta show you what I rep, man. There we go.
Oh, you go,
baby. Let's go.
Hey, man, they're awesome too, dude. That's a great program, brother.
Hey, man, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, Miami. I hope Miami gets back into form because they've been down here for a little bit, but yeah, no, that's okay,
I feel like a college football is fun when the U has the swagger.
You're right. It is. I mean, you have got some of the best, like Michael Irvin, Deion Sanders. Well, no.
Oh man, we could have a podcast on that all by
itself. Yeah,
so, for sure.
Was Deion Sanders with Florida State or with Miami?
Yeah, Deion Sanders was with Florida State.
With Florida State,
Miami,
okay.
Miami.
But Michael Irvin was with Miami for sure. I know that.
Oh yeah,
Adrian James. Like, oh yeah, we could talk about sports, bro. We could talk about sports.
The legacy, baby, the legacy of the U. But hey, Ohio's up there too, man. What you gonna do? And by the way, I forgot to give you a shout out early on the show. I meant to do this. I have it on my notes and I missed it. Congrats on the Rams, man. I know you were pulling hard for them. Bro, let me tell you something. They pulled that by the skin of their teeth. I thought Brady had them for sure.
I did too.
But you know what? Next week, man, they got that defense has to show up, man, or else they're going to be in big trouble.
Yeah, no doubt, because the 49ers, for some reason, just give the Rams fits. We're the better team, no doubt about it. It's just something about how we don't prepare. Like with the last time that we played them, we should have blew them out, but then yet we let them come back. We played stupid. So hopefully they'll have true revenge on their mind. So yeah, but it's not a game that I'm taking lightly. You know what I'm saying? I'm nervous. I'm nervous.
Anything can happen, baby.
Anything can happen. You know what I'm saying? I mean, anything can happen.
So, but you know,
but I'm just happy
Sports Center, brother.
I know, but I'm just happy that Green Bay's out of there because that is our like kryptonite right there. So.
Yeah, man, for sure. So let me get back to point here, K Mega. So we were talking about the Xbox and kind of like that memory card standpoint, and you know, just the way that we were trained. And the fact that you can play these custom songs, how Xbox innovated, dude, and they really did push forward the industry forward with that Ethernet adapter. You know, Sony made you buy the adapter for their console because they're like, you know what, let's cater to people, but let's charge them. Yeah, you can run games on the 56K modem, but dude, I try to play college football on that 56K modem, and what? It's not even worth it. You know what I'm saying?
I bought the same thing. I was 100%. I bought it, and then that's what deterred me from playing online gaming because I never trusted it. I tried to play it on the Dreamcast. It didn't work well. I did it on the PlayStation multiple times. I even thought that it was that modem that I bought for the back of the PlayStation 2 was defective, so I bought another one.
Wow.
And so yeah, no, I wanted to get that experience, but it played so bad.
Ken Kutaragi says thank you for purchasing 2 of those, by the way.
Man, the PlayStation got so much of my money, man. Like that's what I'm saying. That's why I can talk about PlayStation. They got a lot of my bread.
Mine too, man. Mine too.
Yeah. So that was so. But yeah, no, that's what kept me away from online gaming. I made people thought I was lying when I said like, man, I didn't really get invested into online gaming until 2009. I made an account. I had an Xbox Live account, but I just didn't play online because I didn't trust it. I just felt
you had that bad first impression, you know.
And so, well, I never played it. I never tried to attempt to play it on Xbox because of my experience what I had with the PlayStation.
Gotcha.
And then when I bought a PlayStation 3. Later on, I tried it and the experience was bad. It was better because, of course, the technology was built for online gaming to a degree, but it was an open source platform. So like it was free and it was a mess. And so, because the first game that I tried to play online on the PlayStation 3 was MAG. So you can imagine.
Ooh, okay.
So I stayed away until 2009, and then I said, "Oh,
Zipper, man, what did they do to Zipper, brother?"
I don't.
uh but I remember that first great experience with the PS2. Not so that people know we're not only dogging Sony here, man, but I
Yeah.
remember the PS2, man. Great experiences all
Oh
around. God
man,
of
a
War. I mean,
fantastic
dude,
console.
we can go for days on the library, man. But
My
think about,
my
did
favorite.
you ever play SOCOM on the
Yeah.
PS2?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I was going to say my favorite console of all time is the PlayStation One. Um, and right here, close. The more and more I keep playing on this puppy, this Series X right here is right there. It might
Yeah.
overtake the PlayStation One, but the PlayStation One, for all the experiences that I had playing games on that console, and just all the experience of just so many people that I got to meet and things like that. Um, uh, PlayStation One will always be near and dear to my heart. I love that console to death. Loved it. Loved it.
Awesome, man. Awesome. So
Mhm.
you, what was it, the original Xbox came Mega, or was it the 360 that kind of cemented that,
Oh,
Xbox
360.
the 360, yeah. The
Yeah.
360, I always let everybody know, man, that the 360 is kind of what led me to become a quote unquote hardcore gamer, where what I
Hmm.
mean by that is that, the 360 is when I really started looking at the industry different. I started becoming interested in the industry. Hey,
Right.
who are these people behind this brand? Who's
Mhm.
Major Nelson? Why does he have a radio show on the internet? Gamer Tag Radio back in the day. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of like where I started listening to One Up podcast. I saw GameSpot had a podcast, IGN, all this stuff, and that's really when I was enthralled in the world of video gaming, that I knew things past, oh, you just buy games and system.
Yeah.
Is that kind of like the same
That's
route that
exactly,
happened?
absolutely, absolutely. I knew about, doing things on the internet, but like I was more into music, sports, things like that. And so I wasn't, I didn't have any idea or inkling that there was a group of gamers out there that would talk on the internet. Like, just didn't know it. So when the 360, because I got the OG Xbox late in its life cycle. Like, I think it was only, I think it was like what, like 3 years, and then a 360 dropped or something like that.
Yeah, I
I
think I think they were just shy of 5 years, maybe,
5 years.
or
I got it
yeah,
in that
something like
last
that.
year. The OG Xbox. That's why I was like, man, there's another Xbox coming, because I thought that it just came out, but it was in its last year. I had it for a year, and then the 360 came out. So I was really late to the game,
Gotcha.
into the OG Xbox
How
era. Yeah.
how about that Soul Calibur 2 with Spawn came Mega?
Oh my, bro, bro,
Woo!
bro, bro. That just everything. The LAN parties were nuts on the OG
Yeah.
Xbox. Yeah, so like, that was nuts. But the 360, I was like, oh man, because I was still in my PlayStation phase. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get my PlayStation. I'm gonna get my
It's
PlayStation. I
hard to
still got
get
to
out of your
rep.
system.
Yeah, yeah, you still can. I was like, I'm still gonna rep. I'm
Yeah,
gonna get my
yeah,
PlayStation 3, but I am gonna get this Xbox. I'll just get it
yeah,
later. And then
yeah.
what changed the game was the price. When they said $600, I said, what? $600?
Yeah, and you need to get two jobs, by the way.
No, pretty much, right? Like, and
Yeah, yeah.
so, and that was the first time that I got to listen to a E3. Now
Me
I've gone
too.
back and I've watched older E3s, but that was the first, because that was on the news
Yeah.
about the pricing of the PlayStation. And so when I went back and I was like, oh, what is this E3 thing? And then I looked and I said, oh, this dude's crazy. What's this? And so that at that point, you're right. I started to pay attention more and more to what's going on with the industry. I started to pay attention to what's going on with E3. I started ordering magazines from GameStop, or just ordering them on my own. Because you used to get, I don't know if you ever did that, but used to get in the mail this booklet that would offer you a whole bunch of music and magazines.
Oh, I didn't know that. No.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, it used to come, and so if you ordered it, um, if you could get so many music CDs, and you get so many magazines. And so I got all the gaming magazines I possibly could, and everything was like 14 $15 a month.
Damn, that's a
It's
good
it's
deal.
yeah, it was a really good deal. So but then after like 6 months, then they would jump the price to like 150, and so then I canceled
to charge
Yeah,
you for
yeah,
everything.
yeah. Like, oh
Oh,
no,
and
you got to bring
yeah,
you got to pay
and
that.
that's when your mom would be like, what'd you do, baby K Mega? What'd you do here?"
Well, no, I was grown at that time, so like
Oh,
I
okay,
was,
okay, I got you, I got
So I was
you.
like, oh hell no, I ain't paying $150 for this.
Hell no,
But
man.
that's when I started really paying attention to the industry more. I started reading into the magazine, started going into doing that, and then I was like,
Yeah.
wow, so
I,
much information.
I got a question for Sony to this day. What happened to that boomerang controller, man? Yeah, I mean, what happened?
I
They
don't
had
know.
that boomerang controller, dude. I was
Yeah,
looking forward to it. I'm like, oh man, they're
uh,
changing things up.
I
And
wasn't.
then it
I wasn't looking
disappeared the
forward to
next
it.
year.
Yeah, I was. I'm glad that. Well, I mean, they could have brought it out as an extra thing. I personally wasn't interested into it because I was a big fan of the DualShock too. I
Yeah,
was a huge fan.
I think they made the smart decision with that one.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
They did. But
Now
yeah,
thinking
no,
back,
just go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, you're good. You're good, man. So yeah, so the 360, I guess, kind of revolutionized the way
Oh,
that me and you
that
kind of
changed
kind of saw the
everything.
industry.
Mm-hmm.
So we're in line there, man. So let's talk about, right. So the Xbox One, generation wasn't fun for any of us, K Mega, as Xbox fans. Obviously, we got beat down like dogs, man. You know what I'm saying? And rightfully so. I mean, Xbox was making some questionable moves. I guess that the gentleman in charge, Donnie D, decided to kind of tap into that casual market, because if you remember, the Wii was dominating the sales, and Microsoft kind of wanted to tap into that market as well. So they made a choice for their business. They thought going after that casual market was important, and pushing the Kinect and all that good stuff towards the end of the 360 definitely affected the Xbox One launch. And yeah, man, talk to me about those dark days, man. As an Xbox fan, I'm someone that I stayed part of the course. Not trying to say, I was loyal to a corporation or anything like that, but
Right.
I saw, I saw through the negativity, man, and I kind of held firm. I also owned the PS4 during those days, but I saw all the great things that the Xbox One offered. And I also saw through kind of the BS. What I mean
Mm-hmm.
by that is that all the marketing hype that Sony got behind and all of its fans, and I mean, they did what they needed to do to push ahead, and it is what it is. But when the DRM stuff started coming out, Microsoft messed up and fumbled the messaging and all that. But if you really think about it, like, I'm someone that I kind of use logic in the way that I see things, and as soon as I saw that they were dogpiling on Microsoft for, oh, you guys need to install your game because it's a form of DRM. And I'm like, but I install my game on my PS4.
Right.
What's the difference? You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? So talk to me a little bit about those days, man, as an Xbox fan. Well, I'm sure that, were you on the internet during then? Were you making videos? Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's when I started listening to a group called We Game Here, that was on Facebook, and I really was like, man, they know what they're talking about, and so then I got the chance to meet a couple of them, and then we started talking, we was playing Titanfall together, and then I remember that was the first time, because Kid Smooth was a part of We Game Here. And then
Okay.
Kid Smooth was the one that enticed me to do videos. And so he was like, hey man, because we started having conversations and stuff. And he says, you know what, you got a good voice for that. So it was him and Big Kahuna, and then I got another guy named Rise and Grind. They were
Big
like,
Kahuna.
yeah, they were enticing me to do the YouTube thing. And I'm like, man, I'm old. I'm too old for this. And then like Big Kahuna was like, man, I'm twice your age. And then I was like, man, it doesn't matter. You're a gamer. And so I dabbed my toe into it for the very first time or whatever. But yeah, no, those were the messaging was just bad. Right there, I remember when I was watching when Adam Sessler was doing the interview with and at that time too, I was also watching Angry Joe. I got introduced to Angry Joe, and if people
Yeah.
don't remember, Angry Joe was a diehard like 360 dude, like he was an Xbox dude,
And he interviewed
Xbox dude.
Major
Major
Nelson.
Nelson, yeah,
Yeah.
and and he was all over Major Nelson.
Yeah. Rightfully
And
so. Rightfully so.
but I thought Avery Jones was a little bit too pushy, but again, it is what it is, right? But
Yeah. Yeah. I
Adam
got you.
Sessler, I got much love and respect for Adam Sessler. Like he is just even keel. He's all business, and he was asking these questions. And then when Donnie D said, "Well, if you want to play games that's not online, you got a 360."
Yeah.
That just blew me back. Like, come on, what? I'm just now getting into this Xbox thing. You know what I'm saying? This whole generation of Xbox 360 and just and OG Xbox, and I'm fully invested into this product. And now you saying this to me? All right, cool. I'm just going to give me.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just going to go back home. That's exactly my thought and mentality for it. I'm just going to give me a PlayStation 4. Because
It's funny. It's
the
funny how
price.
the roles. It's funny how the roles reversed. You know how
Yeah.
the Xbox kind of followed the same footsteps as the PS2. And sorry to interrupt what you were going to say right now.
No. You're fine. No, you're right. You're right. And you're absolutely right. And that Xbox was feeling themselves. They got too cocky. And then the price difference was different because at that time there was the economic recession going on. You know what I'm saying? Money was tight. People was getting laid off at my job, and then they was cutting back money. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, man, I want to get an Xbox, but man, I don't know about no $500. You know what I'm saying? So like, I mean, that's more than my car note. And so then I said, man, this PlayStation is $400. And I'm like, man, I'm probably just going to have to go with PlayStation. What changed everything for me on that aspect, though, was when I seen Killer Instinct. I'm like, what? Killer Instinct? And I know that this might be unpopular, but I mean, if you listen to me for these for a little bit now, you kind of know I don't really care. I give my opinions and just let it ride.
Yeah, man.
But it's unpopular, but I love the aspect of the TV thing because of the fact that I do watch sports. And then they had the fact that they had the picture in picture. And I'm like, okay. And then they was talking about doing studio. So I'm like, all right, so you're going to make games that's going to follow. You're going to make TV shows that's following behind your games that you're going to drop.
Yeah.
Okay, I could dig that. That seems really cool to me. And I'm always a person that's
you bought into their vision.
I bought into the vision, right?
Yeah.
And then I just started seeing, and that's the first time that I started seeing the dark side of the internet, because everybody was bitching at the fact that they were talking about TV in their first show. And then, I'm like, but they're going to have an E3 talking about nothing but video games. But the damage was already done. And then I go back and I'm listening to Angry Joe. I'm listening to all these other people that are talking about DRM. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. In there DRM in PC games? So why is this guy over here harping about what's going on in the consoles? Like, I think the idea of where they're trying to go with it is saying that you can have up to 10 people get use the same game. Like, I could sit there and I could have I could talk people into getting the Xbox, and then we could all play the same game. And we can all have the same game. So, like, I mean, I can see that sounds dope. But again, it's like what you said. The messaging at Xbox was so horrid. They didn't advertise it properly. The first advertisement of the Xbox One was great, but after that, the messaging was all over the place. You left a bad taste in people's mouth when you talked about, well, just get a 360 if you just want to play, if you don't want to play games online. The always online thing was different, but the main indication, and this is what I say about anything with gaming, is the fact that about the pricing. Price means so much. You're in a real recession. You don't seem to act like you care about your customers, and you want to charge $500 while your competition is saying $400. That was the determining factor right there that just broke the camel's back and had the Xbox One in a sense of,
they put them in a hole.
Yeah, in the sense of just being the people, the public, give it the bad public perception.
Absolutely.
That's exactly what that did, and that just stuck, and it did not leave until maybe at the end of the Xbox One. But that doomed the Xbox One before it even launched.
Yeah, K-Mega, you said so many things that I can resonate with. I remember watching that, that that reveal for the Xbox One, and I was excited, man. I saw the console. It looked like a VCR and all that good stuff, but I did kind of appreciate that TV aspect of it, because just like you, I was like,
Mhm.
oh man, they're talking about integrating, picture in picture and all that good stuff. Like you said, fantasy footballs on the screen while
Mhm.
I'm playing Madden. While I'm playing Call of Duty. This sounds really cool, man, and this is something I can definitely dig, and I can kind of see their vision. And
Mhm.
and you're right, man. That messaging, they definitely dropped the ball on it. And one thing that they underestimated, in my opinion, right? They estimated Sony's marketing, man. They
Right.
they 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 couldn't foresee that they were messing with, in my opinion, the masters of marketing. Remember, Sony's
Right.
Hollywood, dude. They know how to put on a show. So when
Absolutely.
when 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 they smelled they're like a shark, smelling blood in the water. Microsoft just gave it to them, dude. They
Yeah.
they gave them they just handed over the generation with that review, and with the mixed messaging, like you said, and with the fact that you had execs talking about different things, like they weren't on the same page. They would ask in an interview Phil Harrison some information, he would say something else. Then they would ask some other dude, he would say something else, and it's like, okay, which one is it? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And
Right.
and the thing is that they completely dropped the ball on that, man. And I
Mhm.
could just imagine, you as a content creator during that time, as an Xbox fan, as an Xbox first gamer, having to just hear it, dude. And
Oh
and I
yeah.
give
You're
you
crushed.
and I've been giving you props the whole time, man. But another thing I'll give you props on is that I give you props on holding firm and staying and making content about your the platform that you liked. So I give you
Right.
props on that as well, brother.
Well, appreciate that. And that was the one thing about it to me was that um that I enjoyed the games that Xbox presented. Like I understood that the Xbox was underpowered compared to the PlayStation 4, but that's kind of like, but I've always played consoles that was underpowered to some degree to its predecessor. Like for instance, the Sega Saturn was a much more powerful console than the PlayStation 1. The NES, the Super NES was more powerful than the Sega Genesis. The GameCube was more powerful than the PlayStation 2. What I'm saying? The Dreamcast was more powerful than the PlayStation 2, I believe. I'm thinking, but then of course the OG Xbox more powerful than the PlayStation 2. So to me, it was like the power aspect doesn't really bother me because I've been playing games
Yeah.
so long. It's like, as long as give me the content that I can get down with. And then so those first 3 years from Xbox was a slam dunk. Like that, those games were fantastic.
Dead
But
Rising
people,
3, you
yeah,
had Rise, you
right, yeah.
had Titanfall,
Titanfall, you had Forza Horizon 2, you
Sunset
had
Overdrive.
you had Killer Instinct, you had Sunset Overdrive, you had all these, you had Quantum Break, like
Oh
that,
yeah.
you had great games on top of that. Like then you had the third party and the second party. So I was enjoying playing on the Xbox. Like I didn't have a problem with it to that sex, but the console needed to be criticized for some missteps. One of the biggest missteps for me was the fact that my friends on the 360 that was waiting to get a Xbox One, because some of them weren't going to pay that $500 and others was trying to build up their money to get to pay the $500. Um, we couldn't communicate online together through
Yep.
Xbox Live.
Unacceptable.
That was unacceptable. That was hard because I'm over here talking to my friends on speakerphone while they're talking to other people on Xbox Live, and I'm like on the Xbox, and I'm like one of the only people that had an Xbox One at the time, and I'm over here going through and trying to tell them what this console is like and what how the games look graphically and things like that. But the one thing comes back, well, why they didn't include Xbox, 360 players to that time, like, and there was no getting around that. That was a big problem. Another problem was like we've been saying, was the messaging, and then and then of course Sony's advertising and messaging was all hitting on point. Like
Oh yeah.
Sony could not lose. Even when you had articles that were saying they're going to have a sparse moment after like Bloodborne and Infamous Second Son. They're going to go for a moment where they're going to be sparse, and that's good. You could depend on just indies for a few years until Sony drops their games. Then you already knew you was in a bad spot because the industry should have been like, wait a minute, you wanted us to pay $400 for this console. They come out with a lackluster launch set of games. Then they come with a couple of hot games within that first year after the launch, and then you're telling us that we're going to have to wait until they bring more content. Like, what the hell is that? But again, Xbox couldn't jump on that because, for one thing, if there was there was the rumblings about, well, this game is going to be the 720p gate, and then of course the rumors that Xbox was thinking about or Microsoft was not wanting to fund Xbox. They didn't look at Xbox. They didn't take Xbox seriously, and thinking about maybe selling the brand off to somebody. All these rumors and stuff at that time were absolutely true. Now, since we look back at it, and you can tell just by the sheer just the lack of advertising. Like, I didn't see any Quantum Break advertising or Sunset Overdrive advertising. Not at all. I barely seen Forza Horizon 2 advertising. Then when Halo 5 dropped, then that's when you see some advertising, but then there was mixed messaging with that. Like, is Locke going to hunt Chief? Is Chief and Locke got beef? What is
they
going
definitely
on here?
sold? Yeah. The commercials for that game definitely sold a different storyline for that game.
Right. And if they advertised Halo 5 properly, gave a better background, understanding, that game would have been looked at as one of the best looking games out there, because Halo 5 to this day still holds up graphically. If you look at that game graphically, that game still holds up amazingly. And then all the other features within it, like, if they gave a better understanding about it. Now, of course, the writing and things like that, people will debate that, and they could have changed some things, let people understand a little bit more about Locke and Team Osiris and stuff like that. But to just even go further than that, they just went from this one point to where they act like they cared in the first couple of years to then like, well, you know what? Sony's kicking our ass so bad. I don't know, man. Let's just
throw up your hands and go ahead, do what you want with me.
Yeah, do what you want. Just take me how you want. And then of course Sea of Thieves gets shown, got me hyped. I was hyped for Sea of Thieves, but then it wasn't Sea of Thieves of what we know Sea of Thieves today, but it was enjoyable to play. The two big things that really finished off the generation and it had Sony to just catapult itself was Crackdown 3 and Scalebound. When Crackdown 3 got delayed and then it did not deliver what it was supposed to.
Absolutely.
Not story-wise, because the campaign was dope, but the multiplayer aspect was absolutely atrocious. That was a fail beyond all fails. And then the whole situation with Scalebound, that put the nail in the coffin for the Xbox One to make any type of type of strides to make a comeback.
I remember that, as much as I consider myself an Xbox first gamer, I'm glad you mentioned Scalebound, because when they announced that they canceled Scalebound, I remember being so upset that I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to turn on my Xbox for a while. I swear, I had kind of like a mini breakup, with my Xbox, where I was like, you know what? Let me catch up on some of these Sony bangers that I've kind of missed out on, that I've been meaning to play. And I found myself playing, Sony first party games for a good, 3 months, 4 months, man. And I was really upset, because you're right, man. It's one of those things that, we as fans, we always got to hold these companies' feet to the fire and say, hey, if you want my money that I have to work so hard for, you got to earn it, man. We're just not going to give it away. You know what I'm saying? And and they definitely, man, they were dropping the ball all over the place. To go back to your points on Halo 5, when you really think about Halo in its heyday, that's a console seller, man. And
Right, right.
if they would have taken it serious and they would have known what they had in their hands, that could have moved the needle a little bit for them. Not saying that they were
Well,
gonna.
it was the best selling Halo of all time. I think I mean, I don't know what's going on with Infinite, but that was the best selling Halo of all time. It's just the fact that the bad press,
Yeah,
and then just the dogpiling on just the Xbox One, it still seemed very
yeah,
insignificant,
and,
even
and to
though
go.
Halo did do well. Yeah,
You're right, and to go into that point though, what I guess what to say what I'm trying to say better is that you would think that they would have been able to capitalize
right.
and really catapult. Get okay. Let me say it in a better way. Get out of the slump that you're in. Kind
Hmm.
of like snap out of it. All right, let's start kicking on all cylinders now. And I feel personally that not to jump our conversation or anything, but
Yeah.
I've said this, when I was talking to my first guest, Kay Asante. I'm not sure if you're
Oh, yeah,
familiar
yeah,
with
yeah,
him.
yeah. Cassante, yeah,
Yeah,
Cassante. Good
yeah.
dude, good dude,
He
good
was
dude.
actually my first guest on
Oh,
the
awesome.
podcast. But I
Hmm.
remember I mentioned this to him, and I'll mention it to you again. Is that to me what kind of catapulted Microsoft to be where they are today is that delay for Halo Infinite, I think really made them look in the mirror and completely change gears. Because if you remember, go back a couple of years here before the launch of the Series X and the S, as
Hmm.
soon as Halo Infinite got announced that it was going to be delayed due to the backlash, due to the negative response that it received because of the E3 gameplay, dude, from that moment forward, this Microsoft that we're seeing till today, it completely changed them. So I
Oh, yeah,
feel
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's been announcement after announcement, move after move, strategic moves. To me, that was a blessing in disguise. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, yeah. No doubt, no doubt. No, well, remember Phil Spencer did get announced for being, got in and got announced to be uh, the head guy of Xbox, and that was what 2015, I believe.
Uh, I don't remember the year, man, but
2015,
I
2016,
remember
something like
being
that.
parked. I remember being parked in my car having lunch and watching the
Yeah. Hmm.
video of Major Nelson interviewing him, saying, "Oh, congratulations, Phil." I
Yeah.
still remember that.
Yeah, yeah, no, that right there, and then that's where the whole thing where like people were, still doing the dogpiling on Xbox, and I was trying to explain to people at that time, like, look, give it time, because what people weren't understanding was that the messaging for the PlayStation 3 was awful.
Oh yeah,
PlayStation 3 was not was would be considered, compared to the PlayStation 1, 2, and 4, would be the lesser of the consoles, because their messaging was bad. Uh, their games were decent, but they weren't nowhere comparison to what the 360 was pouring out. And then like they started kicking in towards the end of the generation and
yeah,
started to get it together. And so that's what I was trying to explain to people. Like, look, it took PlayStation damn near a whole generation with the PlayStation 3 to get their act together. It's going to take probably pretty much the whole generation for Xbox to get their act together,
yeah.
and then
You're
they're going to
right.
start rolling. And
Yep.
here we go. Here we go.
Yep. No,
Here
and
we
you're
go.
absolutely right. I've heard this comparison said by I forgot a couple of content creators, but when you got these companies that are mega ships, it's not so easy to kind of change the course. So it
Mhm.
takes some time, brother. It's not as easy as a small little
Yeah.
sailboat. It kind of takes
Right.
some time. So I get what you mean by that. But
Yeah.
but to go into it, I'm
Mhm.
so glad you brought up as many points as you did, K-Man, because let's get into the acquisition that was just announced less than a week ago. It'll tomorrow will mark officially a week.
Mhm.
Brother, as an Xbox fan, we've heard about your background. We've heard about your history with Xbox. What did it mean to you personally to hear that announcement last Tuesday, man?
It was a part of me still don't believe it. you know, like
Yep.
like I knew Xbox was not going to come into this generation laying down. And I've also I stressed to people that look, this next generation is not going to be just about console sales. It's going to be well beyond that. It's going to be about features and services, and there's going to be, there's going to be companies that's going to acquire because studios want to be bought. The industry is now evolving into something that we can't comprehend. Right. Yep. And so I said, and I said that on next podcast. I said that on GRG. I said that on, when I guest on other podcasts. People laugh me out, not so much people on the next podcast or GRG, but on other podcasts when I said that, like, look, man, Xbox is going to, what you just did, what you think that these guys are going to allow now, since Phil Spencer is at the helm, they're already did what they did in 2018, that they're going to just stop and then they're going to just let Sony just keep just driving their narrative. They're going to flex. Xbox is going to flex their muscle, and people are going to understand it. And so, I just didn't know that they were going to flex it like that. Like the ZeniMax thing was, because I'm not a person to try to wolf tickets because things go good for Xbox. I like Bethesda games, but I'm not as invested in Bethesda games like others are, because
I'm the same as you.
Yeah, when people talk about Bethesda games and things like that, I tend to think more about PC-oriented gamers, because Bethesda is huge on PC. But I do like, I love the Wolfensteins. I like Doom. I enjoy Fallout. But that's kind of like my wheelhouse right now. I will invest more into their properties now since they're on Game Pass as well. But the ZeniMax thing, it was huge. I thought that I was like, man, that's crazy. All these studios, all this potential. But then this here, though,
it hit different.
It hit real different. That was a power move. That was a move to not only shake the industry, but to shake the core of PlayStation or Sony. They're like,
yeah,
y'all been habitual line steppers for a really long time. Y'all disrespected our name. You've lied. You did every damn thing possible. And then when you come out with the information that came out about PlayStation was trying to do the death blow to Xbox because they felt that the opportunity was right by taking away these second and third party titles by nickel and diming. That's the same thing what PlayStation did to Sega to drive Sega to being a publisher, so being a third-party publisher instead of, still making consoles.
Yep.
Xbox took that personal. And anybody that and I know a lot of people don't know Phil. I've talked to the man. I've met him. I don't know him like others know him, but the man is competitive as hell. He is not going to tolerate this. And if you read an article going back in 2018, it was from GamePro, I believe. It broke down the conversation that him and Satya had. I think I said his name right. The CEO of Microsoft.
Yeah.
That he had, and Phil just basically came to him, and I'm paraphrasing here, but came to him and said, "Look, man, if you ain't all in with Xbox, then we might as well do something else."
That's the way to do it. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Listen, we're going to make this brand work, and I will make it work. And you just gotta be on my team, because the last people that was here, they weren't on my team. You know what I'm saying? So either we're in or we're out. Phil came and got to, when they say, and then remember everybody was talking about, Xbox gamers and stuff like that was saying, look, or content creators would come out saying, hey man, the checkbook is open. And so PlayStation content creators was like, well, what? We don't see anything. We don't see anything. Okay, you bought a few things here, you bought a few things there. Just like with everything, in time, all things happen within time. Things don't happen overnight, because you can't make a $8 billion or $6 to $8 billion investment, and that's going to happen overnight. You know what I'm saying? That's not like you're just going to McDonald's and going to buy a burger and then drive back home. That we're talking about.
No, you're buying McDonald's at that point.
Yeah. We're talking about buying McDonald's or whatever.
Yeah.
But now this right here with this $70 billion hit. Like, bro, like, I mean, that shook the industry, but that shook Sony. That was a direct hit at Sony. Like, we got you. We
I
got
believe
you.
you
We
100%.
got you. We
Yep.
got you.
And I'm going to tell you why I believe you 100%. And it's
Mm-hmm.
because of the tweet that Sony
Mm-hmm.
immediately released, dude. That tweet,
Immediately.
in my opinion, I took it as a sign of weakness.
Oh
I
yeah,
took it
they were
as
shook.
I took it as a sign of, hey, we fully expect Microsoft to respect all the contracts that we have, and we fully expect
Yeah.
that Call of Duty will remain on the home that will remain at home on the PlayStation console. And I saw that, dude, and I remember I just laughed because I go, can you guys be any more obvious? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And
Right.
these are the tactics that I remember I mentioned this to my wife. And I said, listen, it's funny how PlayStation's tweeting this out, and I know I kind of read what they're trying to do here. So number one, what they're trying to do, in my opinion, is that they're trying to turn the fan base against Microsoft
Right.
because they're making
And the gaming media as well.
Exactly. They're making
Right.
it seem now like if Xbox doesn't release Call of Duty on PlayStation no more, they're going to be looked at, hey, they're to blame. So in response to that, I love the way that Phil responded by kind of, and I know that all these are strategic moves, but Phil responded basically saying, hey, listen, we had great talks with Sony. They got nothing to worry about. We'll honor those contracts. And we desire to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation.
That word right there, desire.
That's the key word, man.
That's that key word right there,
desire. Because hey, I desire a lot of things, man. I desire to be a millionaire. I desire for my wife to, have a long, happy life. You know what I'm saying? I desire, a lot of things for my daughter, but it doesn't mean it's gonna come true. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's that keyword there was huge, man. But it's funny how Sony came out and they put out that tweet, to get back to my point. And I instantly saw that, dude, and I said, there it is. That just goes to show you that they had no idea that this was coming. None.
Yeah.
And Xbox shook them, man. So to your point and everything you said, that is one of those power moves that this is industry changing. And for all the variables, I got some numbers here, K Mega, I want to go over with you, because I'm sure that you'll know about them, but there might be some viewers that don't know. Check this out. In this acquisition, right, Microsoft has acquired a publisher that since 2007, has released consistently the number one game in all of gaming, starting in 2007 with Guitar Hero 3. All the way to 2021, brother, consistently the highest selling game, either Call of Duty, Guitar Hero. And you also got the only years that they weren't the best selling was because the Rockstar released the game in those years. You got World of Warcraft, that has to this day over 116 million players that have played that game. Subscribers. All right. You got Candy Crush. Laugh at us now. Laugh at me and you right now, brother. But it's
can't laugh at that Candy Crush money. No,
you can't laugh at it, man. They generated over $1.19 billion in 2020. They're the third highest grossing mobile publisher in the game. So, dude, when you say and you tell me that this is industry shaking, it's industry shaking for so many reasons, man. And the thing is that let's kind of break this down in this way, right? You've told me what it meant to you, how it affected you, brother, just out of your history of Xbox, how you took the news. Tell me about what this right here means for Xbox, man. What do you think that those employees are feeling? What do you think that Phil's feeling, as an organization, man? They're riding high right now. What do you think that they're feeling right now, man?
Man, I mean, they're obviously feeling like, okay, we've got everybody's attention. Now we're about to deliver the goods. We still got a couple of hurdles to go over. Basically with the lawsuit situation that's going on with the CEO of Activision right now and those things. But Microsoft was promised, I believe, from what I read, that they don't have any ties to anything of what happened with Los Angeles DA or whatever. They're just going after the former staff that's out there in Activision. So that they're good on that. I know that there's people that's trying to make this out to be, well, this will turn out to be a monopoly, or this will turn out to be a this deal couldn't go through. I mean, you can never say never on anything, but no, this is not a monopoly, and this deal will go through.
Yeah, there's no reason why it shouldn't.
Well, this is the reason why. This is why I'm pretty much like 95% certain that it will go through, because you know what, Microsoft and Activision announced it. So Activision is all in on wanting to be purchased by Microsoft. This type, you know what I'm saying, when people going up and saying that this is a monopoly, and that the government can step in and do this, not necessarily, because of what we've heard in all different types of podcasts. Excuse me.
Yeah.
With the situation with, you got Ember's Group, you got Tencent, like Microsoft's lawyers would rip between anybody that would try to oppose it. But it's just like with anything. And I believe if Disney can go ahead and buy Fox and all that, and all the things that Disney has sucked up, LucasArts, all that, and nobody has to say anything to Disney, then this deal, because that deal was way bigger than this Activision deal. So Xbox and that Activision deal will go through. But yeah, no, they're elated. They're elated. All the potential, just like when we said in the beginning of the podcast, was that, look, I mean, just think about if they do desire to put Call of Duty on ice for a couple of years and then work with the ID software to implement it into Call of Duty, or the Unreal Engine 5. That potential is great. Raven Studios has worked with, I can't think of the studio that they've worked with that Xbox also acquires. They'll be back together again to work on previous games that they worked on in the past.
We want that Wolverine, baby. We want that Wolverine.
Well, I don't know. Sony might make a deal with Disney to try to lock that down. But
they will.
But let's not. There's so many Marvel properties out there. Like, I mean, remember they made Deadpool on Activision, made Deadpool.
Yeah.
So
High Moon Studios.
All these studios they have their creative freedom. That if you got all of your employees happy, then the results will show. Also, another thing that's important is that Phil is going to clean house. Like, he made it clear, like, as the CEO of Microsoft of Xbox Gaming, I will make sure that there will be no BS going on, and the people that were causing the BS, they're gone. So
and Bobby's as good as gone, man. I mean, that
was already reported once that was, because that was one of the things that I was looking for, to make sure that, like, Bobby had nothing to do with anything other than to get his payday and just move on. But the Forbes magazine, all the rest of them, they were saying, like, once the deal is solidified, Bobby's out of there. He's just going to fade into the sunset.
And even his comment, after the announcement of the acquisition, even that comment that he kind of made, he sees the writing on the wall. He's like, "Oh, I'll continue running the ship, all good. And then if Microsoft wants my services, I'll be here." So I mean, he knows.
Yeah, like he knows his ass is out of here. Yeah, no, he knows.
Exactly.
He
get to stepping.
Yeah, get to stepping. So that there's so much potential into what this deal is, other than just them being elated and all the money that, like, okay, this $70 billion is more money than I could even imagine seeing in person or whatever. But Xbox is going to get that money back in twofold. It's just from what you just said with Call of Duty, with Candy Crush, with Guitar Hero. Let's not forget about just the game was right at the tip of my tongue. The game that you're showing right here. Just think about
Overwatch.
when they released that game, Overwatch. Wow, all of that.
Diablo.
Diablo, all of these games, I'm just talking about the top revenue games,
Oh, I
games that
got
you
you.
know that they're going to give quick revenue. They're going to get that money back, and I say in about probably 5 years, if 5 years or less.
Absolutely. And let me tell you one aspect that a lot of people don't think about. K Meg, I don't know how well versed you are in the world of South Korea. Dude,
Mm-hmm.
these games that Activision Blizzard release,
Mm-hmm.
StarCraft, Diablo, Call of Duty, Overwatch, brother, these games are played by millions in South Korea
Millions. Mm-hmm.
professionally. They take these games serious, brother.
Oh
And
yeah.
the rev now that Xbox can have introducing Game Pass and introducing that South Korean market to their ecosystem is just the sky's the limit, man.
The mobile side of it, like let's not forget that I believe that the mobile market for Activision is like the third best.
Yeah,
Yeah, so like
I think so. I
so,
think so. Yeah.
so that is a game changer in itself for Microsoft not being in the mobile scene, wanting to get in it now, knee deep in it. So knee deep into the
Yeah.
into the mobile spotlight. And what this does is just enhances xCloud to a whole nother level now.
Oh yeah.
So just think about that type of revenue that they'll generate when you have with people that love Candy Crush, and then maybe that like if
You
somebody in
know,
their family. Go
you
ahead.
know when Diablo Immortal launches, that's gonna be huge, brother. That's gonna be
Oh
probably
yeah.
the best selling game on Android and iOS. 100% sure, guaranteed.
It-
Top three.
yeah, like I mean, they are, and they got Call of Duty Mobile as well, which is
Yep.
huge. So they have they're in a market now that they're fairly new to, but they also have people that they know that's been in this market that knows how to work it. So they just put try to implement xCloud into it in some way, shape, or form. Then let's not forget about the Game Pass aspect of it.
Yep.
Microsoft could be making so much money once this deal is over with by 2023. I should say by 2024, that console sales won't even make a difference. Now, I don't
No.
know if you was going to ask me this question or not, but I'm going to kind of hint it at you and see if it's a good
Go ahead.
segue or whatever. And that's about like the dealings with PlayStation.
Yep, that
Um,
was.
okay,
Yeah,
all
we're
right,
gonna get
okay,
there. We're gonna
all
we're
right,
gonna get there. But I
okay,
mean,
yeah.
get into it right now. I mean, with everything you just said, I watched the Iron Lords podcast yesterday.
That was a long ass podcast.
That was a long ass podcast, man. They definitely
I
have the record for
I stayed for 5.5, and I think it went 6. I was like, yeah, no,
bro.
I was.
The funny thing is that now that you mentioned that, I got home, after having to do a couple of things, take my daughter back to her mom and all that good stuff.
Yeah,
And my wife is like, "Hey, can you do me a favor? Can you help me out with some house chores or whatever?" Dude, I remember I started doing the house chores. And by the time I was in bed, I'm still listening. I'm like, man, this thing just keeps on going. But it was
right.
so entertaining, man. I mean, they're so funny
Oh,
and
they went crazy with the guests. I've never seen a
yeah,
podcast do that before.
yeah,
But shout out to them. Like, I mean, that I've always had a lot of respect and admiration for what they do, especially me being a content creator of color. And
yeah.
and I've been, and I always tout them out when I get a chance to. But yeah, no, they did something absolutely phenomenal. And so it was very interesting. And then on top of that, like I enjoyed hearing some of the points from some of the people that they had the same type of thought process that I did.
Yeah,
And so that was like, so because sometimes that's when I do listen to podcasts, because sometimes everybody has a life, and so I can't listen to every podcast out there.
right, right.
But I do like to listen to see if people have the same wavelength. I used to listen to a lot of PlayStation podcasts, but it's gotten to the point to where some of them are just so
Yeah, one-sided, and I mean,
one sided, so just
yeah,
hate, just hate filled, or just
yeah, yeah,
honoring, like, and it's just it's more of a tragedy than, than it is just getting some things about for information for some of those.
for
So
sure,
so
for
yeah,
sure.
but so I cut back on a lot of listening to podcasts on that aspect. But I just, the PlayStation deal to me, this is where Xbox has all the leverage. Like for any PlayStation fan or anybody out there think that PlayStation has any leverage in this deal, that's nuts. The only way that they would have leverage again is if the deal didn't go through. But like I said, I'm 95% sure that it will.
Yeah. And before you finish your thought, what I was gonna say about the Iron Lords podcast, that I heard something funny, because King's always clowning on them, and he's a big personality, whatever. But he did say something that's kind of true. And when somebody states a fact, you can't hate it, man. And he jokingly said, "We don't need your money." And I think that's what we're getting into now. They don't need PlayStation's money. So everybody that's shouting to the roof saying, "Oh my God, but how are they going to miss out on all these sales? But how are they going to do all this without microtransactions? They just spent $79 billion. They need to make it back." You don't think that they've thought this through? They're smarter than us.
Well, again, Microsoft, these guys don't read or pay attention to what. They only pay attention to certain things that only certain narratives and things that they hear from others, and then they run with those. Phil Spencer's told us, and there's other people with Xbox staff that told us they got $100 billion just pretty much couch money that they could spend on gaming. And so again, people were trying to make fun of, Halo Infinite. Oh, you spent $500 billion on, you spent, $500 million on this, blah, 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 blah. Then they did this move, and then they're like, well, how much money do they have? They just told you, like a couple of years ago, how much money that they had after they got ZeniMax. Like, what I'm saying? We still got $100 billion that we have just open money, just free money, pretty much, where we can spend it on anything. And from my estimation, if you do the math, okay, so you get ZeniMax for $70 billion, and then that's ZeniMax, but Activision for $70 billion, and you got ZeniMax for what was it, $7 billion?
7.5, something like that. Let's call it 8. Let's just say $8 billion.
Call it 8. Yeah, that's $78 billion. They said they had $100 billion, so that they still got some billions left. And so when I look at the charts of who else is available, they can pretty much damn near get anybody else they want to if they're willing to sell.
I got a prediction on that, by the way, if you don't mind me just interjecting.
This is your show.
Hey man, and just
anytime.
No, man, and just quick, and you can give me your if you want. If you don't think they're gonna acquire anybody else, that's cool too. But personally, with the moves that I've seen that they're making, there's no doubt in my mind, 100%, they're going for the jugular. Grand Theft Auto's next, brother. I'm sorry to break it to everybody.
That would be that's game over. If they get Take-Two, that's game over. And you also know how Microsoft likes to work. I've noticed this here for the last 5 years that I've been doing this. I've really been paying attention to how their logic has been. If you notice in that documentary, they did bring up Grand Theft Auto, saying like,
yes,
they offered this game to us, and they told us.
I told Mav that last week when I interviewed him, right? He was my second guest. I told Mav that.
Excellent.
Why the hell would they bring that up? And then Mav pointed out, because they wanted to kind of talk about their mistakes. And I go, nah, Mav, they wouldn't bring that up unless they were ready to do something about that.
Right. To some degree. Now, I agree with you. I agree with you with the fact that they're going to do something about that. I just don't know if they can, because, to go even deeper, remember, that was just an odd showing of Phil Spencer and the CEO of Take-Two Games just kind of, hamming it up together, and he was clowning and saying, where's Game Pass at? Is it at 30 million?
Dude, and they pulled the interview. They pulled the interview. I said something then in Predator. He said something's up. He said something's up. Microsoft is up to something. So now, follow a couple of months later, because that was back in like October, November of last year. Yeah, I think so. Then, sounds right.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, they take it down, and then all of a sudden you hear this big, huge announcement of Activision, which I think that move just kind of came out of nowhere.
Me too. I'm
Yeah,
with you.
and I think maybe their whole thought process has been, let's go after. You might be right. Take Two. Let's see what we could do with that. And then it was like, oh, this Activision thing right here. This is massive. We can't pass this up. So
exactly, you put it. You hit the nail right on the head.
Yeah,
K-Mega, I'm a fraud investigator for a financial institution. That's my
okay.
job. So I put cases together, fact finder, all this good stuff. I put this case together, brother. I'm telling you, that Take-Two deal was gonna take place, and it's still probably gonna take place. It's just that they said for the time being, we got to put a pin on this because Activision has come to our doorstep with a deal of a lifetime, and we kind of have to take this in steps now. Let's do the Activision first. It's going to be a big acquisition, and then we'll take the next step with Take-Two. Because in my opinion, Sony, I don't know their books. Obviously, I'm not their accountant. I don't think they got the capital to buy Take-Two. I just don't think they have it, nor would they want to do that. So I think that Microsoft knows that they have time to buy, and that this came around, and they're like, you know what? But those negotiations, man, in my head, it's a done deal.
Well, you know what? I'm not going to tell you that you're wrong on it, because there was a reason why Microsoft, why they pulled that video with the CEO and Phil, and then of course you bringing that up, there's a lot of scenarios there, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Now, for me, because to me that's almost unfair, right? Like Take-Two would just be unfair because you have not only you have the biggest gaming IP ever, which is Grand Theft Auto, but you will have also NBA 2K.
Yep.
You'll have BioShock into your wheelhouse. You'll have Red Dead Redemption. You'll have, I mean, if you want to bring back Bully, like Midnight Club and
Juggernauts.
Like it would be just filthy. That would be the death blow. I've also thought of death blow scenarios too, but almost kind of nice ones in a sense, because I feel that there's only now one aspect of Xbox portfolio that has not been that's just not fully fulfilled yet, and that is the Japanese aspect. And of course, a lot of people will go for Sega. I'm like, no, because I think where Xbox is going to get Sony by the balls is by saying, we desire to want to put these games on your on your PlayStation,
but you guys are being dicks.
Yeah. So, but what are you going to do for us? You know what? Yeah. Our fans are really looking forward to playing Final Fantasy on the Xbox. Our fans are really looking forward to want to have Persona on there. Our fans are really looking forward to having Guilty Gear Strive and Street Fighter come back. You know what I'm saying? Come back to the Xbox. So, well, not Strive, but just Guilty Gear, the franchise itself, to come back to the Xbox. So I say, we'll just go ahead and do you a solid and let COD stay on, but you're going to have to give this up. And then, of course, it'll be in Sony's court to decide if they wanted to make that move or not. But for me, because then at that point, you don't really need to get Sega, because that would be really the only purpose to get Sega is because, or to try to attempt to get Sega, is to try to go around Sony's bullshit and then be able to pull to get the Personas and then all the rest of those JRPGs over to Xbox. The one that I haven't heard anybody talk about is Tecmo. Tecmo is Koi. I think that's a Tecmo Koi or Koi, something like that. I can't.
Yeah, you got Ninja Gaiden. They got Legacy on Xbox.
Yeah. You got Ninja Gaiden.
Dead or Alive.
Dead or Alive. And normally too, when you look and see how Xbox does things, that was pretty crazy to me to see Xbox get all of the Dead or Alives to be on backwards compatibility. I mean, they got every last one of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. They went back and brought all those back. Dead or Alive has been huge for Xbox, but Like, I mean,
That's a
and
great
that
point.
is a huge studio, because also I think they're also the same studio that makes Neo.
Yes.
So like they could go after a studio like that has tons of Japanese content, and then that would fill the whole portfolio. And then of course you can make Ninja Gaiden and Dead or Alive exclusive, and so that adds to Xbox's because I do believe with all my heart that my hearts of hearts that Xbox is now going to start a fighter division after the two hires that
Yes.
they picked up. And
Yes,
I
they
think
have
that
to.
yeah, and I feel that, like, okay, Killer Instinct is going to be the flagship. If you add acquire a company, a studio like a publisher like that, then you would have Dead or Alive, which is really huge, and then you could work on um, a Smash Brother S type of fighter, because I believe, like, these rumors that's going around about Bandai Namco, uh, what's it, Project Soul. That's the name of the studio that's supposed to be working on the next Killer Instinct.
Hmm.
I don't think that's the studio that's working on Killer Instinct. I think
Hmm.
that Xbox is serious of trying to do a Smash Brothers styles fighter, because that studio has worked is the one that worked on Smash Brothers.
Oh, I didn't
Yeah,
know that.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Project Soul, the studio that makes Soul Calibur, also has made Smash Brothers. So
Okay.
that to me, the tie-in there just seems like a Smash Brother S type of game for Xbox, and then you add that to the portfolio, then you've hit every genre. You have the
Yep.
Japanese games, you have the fighters, you have the shooters, you have the Western RPGs, you have the storytelling games, because you got the Initiative, you got Ninja Theory, and you have ton. I mean, just everything else. Like, I mean, you got Undead Labs, you got all these other studios, 34 studios right
Yep.
there at your disposal to do that. And on top of that, you're the true king of the shooters, because not only you got Halo, that's the flagship, but now you got Call of Duty like that, and Doom. That you can't beat that. You can't beat that.
If
You
you're
can't
if
beat
you're a
that.
gamer, if you're a gamer, how are you going to say no to that? You know what I'm saying?
You
The same way,
no game
it's
won't.
kind of it's kind of like comparing. If you want to say if you're a gamer, you got to pick up Nintendo for their great exclusives, Sony for
Mm-hmm.
their great exclusives. You got to pick up an Xbox. You're not giving you a choice. You know what I'm
Oh yeah,
saying?
no,
Because with all
no,
these
no.
great titles, you want to be invested in their ecosystem. So that's
Right,
what these moves are about, man. And it's not, all these people talking about monopolies and all this nonsense,
right.
man, that I keep on hearing about. It's not about that, man. It's we're okay. The game has changed, K Mega. This isn't 1998 anymore. This
Nope.
isn't even the early 2000s anymore. It's
Mm-mm.
not about console sales. It's not about, like you mentioned before, it's not about, oh, my system sold more games here. No, these we're living in a time now where, unfortunately, I know this might rub some people the wrong way when I say this. I fear for Sony, and what I mean by that is that it's gonna I really do feel like in the future they're gonna be bought out by one of these mega corporations, man. It could be an Apple, it could be an Amazon, it could be a Google. If one of these companies kind of sees the moves that Microsoft is making, because Microsoft for the first time ever has the opportunity to be number one in something besides computers and Windows.
Yep.
They
Yep.
they they really have an opportunity here to become number one when it comes to all of gaming. That's, I think, what they're actually striving for, right? I would think that that's what they're striving for. In any sport, you want to be the champion. I would think that this is kind of like the
Spending
same thing.
close to $80 billion. Yeah, you striving for something.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So I mean, it's not just for survival anymore. Now it's like,
Right.
all right, no, now we're training. This is like a fighter training different styles.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to become that champion, trying to to give those comparisons. So I really do think that we're in a different time frame now, where all of these
Right.
companies, they're just gonna start gobbling up all of these smaller things, man. Because even in my industry, which is banking, brother, the bigger banks are acquiring all the smaller banks. It's just the inevitable. In the words of
Mm-hmm.
Thanos, It's inevitable,
It's
man.
inevitable.
So it's one of those things, man, that unfortunately I do fear for Sony. It's gonna come to a point, I think, many years from now. This isn't like a 2 or 3 year thing, even a 5 year
Yeah,
thing,
yeah,
but it's gonna happen, man. Because if Apple starts seeing that Microsoft is really starting to dominate, and these companies know that they don't want not one company to get so far ahead of the game that it's not even going to be worth for them to compete. That's
right.
kind of what I'm trying to summarize here. So, in looking at this, right, I think that this was such a smart acquisition, brother, because of that Call of Duty IP.
Hmm.
People don't understand the power that IP has, man. That IP, in my opinion, is almost a guaranteed console seller because of the masses.
It is definitely a console seller. Yeah.
The masses, they're attracted to Call of Duty. Me, I buy almost every Call of Duty that comes out, man, because even if they're all right, even if they're lukewarm, whatever, I enjoy, just getting off of work and just playing a couple of rounds, getting some kills, some kill streaks, just that competitive
What I
nature of
call
it.
Call of what I call Call of Duty is the comfort food of gaming.
Yeah, absolutely,
That's
absolutely.
how. Yeah.
And there's no offense taken. Believe me, whoever
No.
doesn't agree
No.
with you just doesn't
Yeah.
understand how this works,
Right.
So
Right.
so
Yeah.
I agree with you 100%. So
Hmm.
the thing is that that's kind of like the evolution of where we're going in this industry. So let me ask you, man. I mean, we talked about what Xbox is feeling.
Hmm.
We kind of made it obvious already that Sony's kind of shaking in their boots because now they're in a
Yeah.
position of defense instead of offense, like they're used to being,
Right.
right? So we know kind of what this means for the overall industry, talking about where this looks like, in my opinion, where this is going. So
Hmm.
let's finish off with the last topic, K Mega. Let's get into Phil Spencer, man,
Okay.
and Phil Spencer, from the moment he got introduced, um, for me personally, I saw him come out. I had seen him come out in a couple of E3s announcing, "Oh, these are our
Mhm.
first party games, whatever." I'm like, who's this dude? Just another exec, whatever. So then
Yeah.
when he got announced as the head of Xbox after Donnie D picked up his picked up his bag and basically
Yeah.
left to, I think he left to a mobile, to
He
Zynga, something
did.
like that.
Yeah. Yeah. He
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
after he saw that the Titanic was sinking, he's like, "Oh, I'm out of here, man."
I'm
So
out.
yeah, so let's talk about your thoughts, man, on Phil. Where do you hold him as far as execs
Whew.
go in the Xbox landscape?
Um,
We've had some great ones. We've had, Peter Moore, just to name a couple, just to name one. Jay Allard, from the 360 days. Where do you hold Phil as far as execs go for the Xbox brand? And then let's take it a step further. Right after that, where do you hold him in the history? Because we got the Reginator, we got
mm,
Reggie, we
yeah.
got Phil Trenton, we got Ken Kutaragi, who are icons in this industry.
Icons.
And
Yeah.
and I missed a couple from Nintendo, I'm sure. But where do you kind of hold them on both aspects, man?
Well, I mean, Phil Spencer is definitely saved Xbox, and that's not blowing smoke. Like Xbox was in a bad place last year. Xbox was about to be sold, or was about to be put on ice. And Phil Spencer saved it. And Phil Spencer also did something with Xbox that is, if you notice, no other company has done that. Produces a console. Um, Sega couldn't do it. Nintendo couldn't even do it. Like if you were in third place, um, and you're not supposed to be doing record profits or hitting record numbers. Now, you might not be hitting the same numbers as your competition because they have more consoles out there in the wild and they have more software for all. They're selling more software, but to hit record numbers and to be put, Xbox One was in such a bad state when it came to uh, uh, publicity, and for people to and also just content wise, The media bashing it, content creators are bashing it, gamers are bashing it. And somehow that console still sold over 65, 70 million consoles is a statement to the commitment to something, even when something is bad, to ride the ship and to ride the ship until you see success. That is something that I can't say, like, I just can't, you can't knock down, because if this was any other company going through what Xbox One did, they would be done.
Yeah,
They would
absolutely.
be done. They would be done. I mean, that's what happened to Sega. Sega just didn't have the funds to maintain. They gave it a good run. The Dreamcast is still one of the best consoles ever made, in my opinion. The content was amazing for what they could offer, and they just couldn't sustain the might of the PlayStation.
Yeah.
And even Nintendo went into a funk. And really, I think what helped Nintendo was because of their handheld market. But the Wii U was a disaster. That was
Yeah, man.
that was the ultimate disaster than anything. I mean, like, the Wii U sold the less consoles, I think, than anything. And a lot of people was looking at, like, well, Nintendo's going to be next to be a third party, publisher
Yeah.
and not make anything. And then Nintendo just isn't going to die, right? Like, Nintendo just knows what to do, right?
Dude, they're selling
Uh,
cardboard.
I mean, bro, they'll sell you anything, like, and they'll make it
Yeah.
work. But Phil Spencer saved Xbox and then now is not only solidifying the brand, but making the brand stand out for years to come. Like the money that the wealth that they'll be generating. I mean, I would like to get a little bit of some of that change personally,
At least
but
1%, man.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, or 0.5%. You know what I'm saying? Just we get a little something,
Yeah,
but
I got you.
but the money that they're going to get from these deals that they've made is only going to make them more powerful, and to be in a position for, I think, that, like, where nobody would ever expect. And maybe people say, well, Mega, you being real bold with this, but this is me really feeling this, is that Microsoft will be the console, Microsoft will have the market share and dominate here before the end of this generation, and
Wow.
they will not outsell PlayStation's consoles. There will
Mm.
be the first company that will not, because I feel PlayStation will still, once they get those PlayStation 5s rolling, people will still buy them and acquire them. And then, of course, people will double up, because I don't have one yet. I'll get me one, just because, I'm a gamer, as
Yeah,
much.
it's a matter of time before that game comes out that you just
Right.
you're gonna need it.
Right. And it's just, for me, I just like to support gaming all in all. But
Yeah,
Microsoft, I feel, is going to just have so many hands in so many different things, that it's just going to be that they're just going to dominate. Like, they're going to put Sony in a position to where, like you said, they're going to have to be really off. They're going to have to be defensive, and if they're being defensive, that means they're going to be pulling in money. They might. People are saying that they're going to make a move, and they might, but even if they got Square Enix, that still isn't as significant as
I
pulling
agree.
what Xbox did. And then that right there, if they pulled a move like that, they got out of their pocket and did something to try to get people to say, "Oh, now Sony's going to." That could put them in a world of hurt, because they don't have Microsoft money.
Yeah,
And
and the thing
yeah,
is that now they're not what they've consistently been. They're not
right.
leaders. They're
No,
followers.
they're followers, and they've been followers for the last 2 generations.
They
Like, I
have
mean, everything
when
that
it
you've
comes to
seen from.
features and stuff like that.
Yeah, like the innovation that Microsoft has done, and that's, you looked at that documentary, like, that's all Xbox that's giving all this stuff. Then PlayStation has just used it, and people that may just be PlayStation only eccentric, they may feel like, oh man, Sony's, no. They used to be at the cutting edge of innovation. They're not there now, so that should tell you that what's going to happen if they do make a big purchase to try to make a splash in the industry, there you're going to get a lot of sequels, and that's a lot of people, especially now with today's gamers, they want new experiences and things like that.
Yep.
That's all. Sony already told you that they were going to put more money and emphasis on their IPs that they have now. Just think if they go in, if they acquire something with a lot of money to make a splash, and they're like, so yeah, you get Square Enix, okay, so you're only going to get those big time Square Enix games. You're not going to get those like how PlayStation used to be, where you just see these diamond in the rough games, these double A's. You're just going to get nothing but the big titled games, and then we'll have a generation where Sony is going to be the new Halo, Gears, and Forza, because
Yep.
that's all they're going to be pumping out, because they want to they're going to play it safe. They're already playing it safe. They'll play it safe again, and while Xbox is just throwing out all this other stuff, and then on top of that, Xbox will also have a cheaper a viable way for people to get a hold of these of content, either if through the cloud, or if you want to buy the Xbox One S, which we've seen Xbox One S's. I'm sorry, not One S's, but Xbox Series S's at $250 to $275. Just think
Yep.
about how cheap they're going to be at that point. And if you got people out there that likes to mobile game, and now you got the Activision mobile gaming division, then all thing you got to do is just pay what, $10, $15 for Game Pass, and they can play the games however they want to on their PCs, on their phones. They don't have to sell the console in order
Imagine
to be
by
the
the
market leader.
Absolutely. Imagine by the time that this deal goes through,
Mm-hmm.
if it does go through and everything's okay, can you imagine Black Friday comes around and
Oh,
we see the Xbox Series S at 239, 249, even dare say 199 with
no,
3
man.
months of Game Pass with Call of Duty splattered all over the box art.
With
I
Call of
mean,
Duty, yeah, no, and then let's not forget, like, there's going to be a new Halo story, and then going to be dropping, and you got Starfield. Like, I mean, like that won't. I mean, that won't be happening this year. It'll be happening sometime probably in 2023. If not, the advertising will start revving up in 2024 for sure.
yeah.
But yeah, you start putting Call of Duty on the boxes of a Series S for 199. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's
I
it.
mean, and that's the thing, they want it to be kind of like that impulse buy where now
Mm-hmm.
where now it's like you're gonna have all these gamers or potential gamers saying, man, I can get an Xbox for only $250 or even $300, and I get
Right.
Game Pass, and it's only $9.99 per month, and I'm gonna get all the Call of Duties coming forward. I'm gonna get all these cool games that I don't even want to try, but I mean they're there, they're in the service. Why
They're
not?
there. Why
You
not?
know, so I mean, I think that the vision, that kind of Phil has kind of uh shown to Microsoft, I think that we can agree that they're all on board. I think that Satya
Yeah.
sees it because the writing, I mean, the proof is in the pudding. Satya does not approve a $80 billion deal if he's not on board.
Not all
Forget
in.
about it.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
so I mean the proof is in the pudding, man. So is it fair for me to say that you definitely, to answer the question, you think that Phil has kind of surpassed every other Xbox exec as far as the
Oh,
ladder goes?
yeah, yeah. Peter Moore still holds dear. Now listen, I'm not. This is the thing about Donnie D though, that I have to give him. You got to give him. You got to give him some credit,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Because the advertising aspect of what Donnie D was doing with the Xbox 360 at that time was unseen before.
Mhm.
I like when I was watching the Transformers live action movie for at the theater, and then the little transformer turned into an
Oh
Xbox
yeah, and it
360.
made the
Like,
and it did the little woo.
yeah, it did, like
Yeah,
that was Donnie D. Like, I mean, you
that was
have to give him
badass.
that like, and then like you seeing all these advertisements for stuff within your Xbox 360. Like, it was like that's why, like, I was cool with it, because like my girlfriend at the time, and the kids, they would get on the
Oh
game,
man,
and
you
then they
you
would
you
be
got you got real low when you said that, man.
Oh well, I had to. I had to.
I got you, man. I got you. I
Yeah,
got you.
yeah, 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 yeah. You know, but the X and stuff like that, like it was more of a thing of like we would all get together and you had to say that low. Yeah, right.
Of course,
My
hell
wife
yeah,
will cuss
man.
my
You
head.
ain't looking to get smacked across the head.
What
Yeah,
you
I mean,
say? Oh, no, no, but
I don't fear fanboys, man. I fear my wife, man.
right, facts. But no, but like they all would get invested in seeing something that interested them. You know what I'm saying? Like I would go to the game side, like they like, you know, and then like maybe she would go to the movie stuff. And then like when you could rent movies through the 360, that was a game changer. Like that
Yeah,
was
you're
like
right.
so yeah, like there Donnie D wasn't like awful. His messaging at the end, because he was already out the door anyway, was awful. And he probably was doing that just to say, here, Microsoft, here, get the double finger. But
That's a great
um,
point.
so yeah, so that's the thing, right? Like Xbox messaging has been a hell of a lot better here going forward. All you got to do now is just have that same type of stuff. I've even gone as far as saying like, you know, what Sony does is really cool with college football. They have like the PlayStation college bowl. Like, you know, they had like at the PlayStation bowl for when teams go to the bowl. Or
Yeah,
this you know, ESPN is brought to you by PlayStation. And
right.
then they got like, oh, here go to the PlayStation screen and look at this play. Xbox
Mhm.
needs to do that. If they don't want to do it in college, do it in basketball, do it in football,
I
do it
mean,
in
they already have the
NFL.
surface splattered all over the place, you know?
Right, right. Yeah, they advertise the Surface, but they don't advertise Xbox, and
Right.
that's where they need to go. They don't have to show. They don't have to advertise Xbox on your you know, when the nightly news is on, but they need to advertise Xbox at sporting venues. Like hell, hit the Super Bowl up this year, and
Yeah.
go hard because if
Advertising
because
that Game Pass.
yeah, advertising that Game Pass, advertising what's dropping, and then you know the two versions of the Xbox, and then drop that, and then also uh hit up and drop some content on Adult Swim, because not only because that's when adults who are in the gaming and PC gaming and shit like that, uh most of us, if you do a demographic, I'm sure that a high percentage is into gaming that watches Adult Swim at night.
Yeah.
So,
And if
or
you
in
think
Tsunami.
about it, right? And if you think about it, with all the IP that they're getting or
Yeah.
potentially getting here, they can even cater towards, you know, the Nickelodeons of the world, the Disney
Oh
channels of the
yeah.
world, where
Oh
they
yeah.
can, if they start releasing Crash Bandicoot games, you know,
The
Spyro,
Spyro.
they,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, even Conquer, well, not Conquer, because Conquer is more adultish, but
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
you can kind of see where they're, I can kind of see what you're saying. I mean,
Yeah.
dude,
Yeah.
if they really play their cards right, they can
hmm
hit all these angles. So great point.
Yeah. So, but no, Phil Spencer is by leaps because he saved Xbox, so he's got to get the nod. So
I got you, man.
overall, Jack Trenton was my number one, but Phil Spencer is now taking over, man. Like
I got.
I can't
It's
deny
it's hard
it.
to debate, man. Like, you know, when you talk about, you know, since we're sports guys, you know, I'm not really that much heavily into sports anymore like I used to be, but I still follow,
Mm-hmm.
you know, especially around playoff time and stuff like that. But
Right.
when it comes, look, I'm from Miami. You know, I like the home teams, Dolphins, you know, Hurricanes. So when you really talk to me about Tom Brady, man, and kind of like, you know, I get itchy. You know, I'm like, man,
Yeah, yeah.
that guy's caused so much pain, man. You know,
Oh
to my
man,
team and to so many
yes.
teams and fans around the world. But dude, I can't deny greatness, man. I mean,
Nope.
you're talking about, you know, a guy going on his 40s and he's still, you know, one of the best, you know, in the league. So you can't
It's
hate on
amazing.
that. And,
Nope.
and to hate on that, I mean, you're just blind. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're
So
just a hater.
so
Yeah.
you're right. So to throw that analogy out there, Phil Spencer, man, right now with a move with like the acquisition of Bethesda, like the turnaround of Xbox, like you mentioned, you know, keeping Xbox from dying, it's gonna be hard to kind of top that, man. Because even PlayStation, in my opinion, right, to kind of debate the Jack Trennan deal, it, Jack Tretton did a great job, in my opinion, man, turning that brand around, kind of focusing on, let's focus back on the gamers. So in a
Right.
way, maybe Phil kind of took from that playbook a little bit, from Jack
Yeah.
Tretton's playbook, because I see a
Yeah.
lot of similarities. I really do. But but I mean, they couldn't. An acquisition like this, brother, wasn't done. And I understand, you'll have your people that'll listen to this and be like, yeah, but John, what are you talking about? Jack Trent doesn't have the money that Phil has and all that. But think about it, because you mentioned something that is key, and I thank you for this, because I've been trying to kind of figure out, when did Phil kind of get Xbox on board, Microsoft on board for Xbox, because it's true what you're saying. They were seen as, the little project on the side for the longest time. And I thank you for pointing out that interview where it looks to me like if Phil had a big boy talk with Satya, and Phil said, listen, either we do this or we don't. Either
Right.
you got both feet in here or you don't. So he took that relationship to the next level.
Right.
He basically said, you got to put a ring on. Okay.
Right. Pretty much. Right.
Yeah. You got to invest. You got to put a ring on it. We need to take this to the next level. So, I thank you for bringing that up, because you helped me figure out that missing component of trying to figure out when Phil kind of sold this vision. And I think that that's kind of what you said. And for him to sell that to Microsoft, he had to become a hell of a salesman, but he accomplished it. He accomplished the biggest sale that any exec can accomplish.
Right. And
you know what I'm saying?
No, yeah, right. And I mean that, yeah, like you talk and you give that type of speech for a person who was on record saying he wasn't even a fan of video games. Like he didn't even see the interest in spending money on video games. That's why a lot of people thought like, oh, well, this dude, gaming is over with Xbox. And for him to turn it around like he has, I don't know how I look at this all-in aspect of it. Here's more sports analogy stuff. As I look at it for my team, the Rams, right? Who has Sean McVay, the coach, and then Snead, who is the general manager. And Kroenke is the owner, but it's about Sam Snead and it's about the coach and McVay, and how they came from a position of saying, well, we like Jared Goff, he got us to the Super Bowl, but we need more, man. We gotta be invested. We gotta be invested. We gotta go all in, man. We got this brand new stadium. We talked Kroenke into moving from St. Louis back to LA.
Yep.
And we got this $1 billion thing, and we're gonna ask this man for more money to pull these type of strings and sell all our draft picks for a dream. Yeah. And that's how I look at Phil talking to Sadia about like, yo, we got to be all in. Like you said, put a ring on it, man. Yeah. We got to go for this now. We can't wait any longer. And that's just my thought process about how this is working. It's like, look, we're going to get Stafford. We're going to get Von Miller. We're going to get Odell Beckham.
We're going to give you the tools.
We're going to give you the tools. Now you got to make it work. And now, and that's exactly how I'm looking at this. It's like it's all in an overly aggressive move, and they're like, okay, Sony, now it's your turn. Either you're going to play ball with us, or we're probably going to like the one thing about Phil though, he isn't going to run over PlayStation to where he could crush them.
I don't think so either.
No, he's a gamer. He knows. He knows that the competition is good for the brand for the brand of gaming.
Exactly.
But he does want to put them in their place.
He isn't gonna Vince McMahon them. You know what I'm saying? That Vince took out WCW.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Sony would have destroyed, if Sony had any type of capital, they would have destroyed Microsoft last gen. Hands down, no problem. With
and we the gamers would be paying for it.
Oh yeah.
You know? No doubt about it. So I think it's fair to say you have him surpassing Jack Tretton. Is that fair?
That is absolutely fair. Yeah, Phil for the win.
We have officially crossed the line, K Mega. Where now whoever watches this is gonna say that we are the biggest Xbox fanboys of all time, brother. But
Oh
that's
man,
okay,
whatever.
man. We're just spitting
That's fine.
facts, man. That's all we're doing.
That's it. That's it.
You know what
That's
I'm
it. That's
saying?
it.
K
That's it.
Mega, we're over the 2.5 hour mark, man. I
All
want to
right.
be, respectful of your time, brother. And I want to thank you so much
Oh
for
yeah.
being my third guest. It's been an honor, man, to have you on here. Let the viewers know, man, what's your next show coming up? Where can they catch you? What days? On what shows, man? One more time, so that they can subscribe, man, and they can definitely hear you speak and talk about your thoughts and understand what it is that drew me to want to subscribe to you, brother.
Man, really appreciate it. Yeah, I will be streaming Wednesday night, doing another fight night. Going to try to stream a lot more coming forward. You know what I'm saying? Do something with me and the Don. Coming up here next week, the Devin the Gamer will return Tuesday. Um, uh, Next Tuesday. So look out for that. The GRG podcast will drop Friday night, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, 2 a.m. GMT time. You know what I'm saying? We'll have another show with guests, you know what I'm saying? Which hopefully, John Wolf can come through sometime and be a guest on the GRG
Oh
podcast. That would
wow,
be
dude,
great.
that would be
Yeah,
awesome, dude.
yeah. If you got a Friday night open, man, let me know. And I can sit there and I can pencil you in for sure.
Awesome, man. Thank you.
Yeah. And then so let the people get to hear you because I mean you got some good stuff going, man. Another person I know that's doing content kind of like yours, the one-on-one. His name is Ham Solo, and
Oh yeah, I've
yeah,
I've listened to him. Yep.
yeah, and I've had him on the podcast a few times. Let people get familiar with him, so have no problem with doing that because it's all about the community, man. Just try to get people out there to
Thank you.
get a chance. So I'm pretty sure that Map hopefully asked you as well. I mean, so um, because we got our podcasts at the same time. But
For sure, brother.
uh,
Thank you so much.
yeah, no problem. And then also oh yeah, next podcast Thursday nights. I'm over here like I gotta remember. On Thursday night, 7 p.m. 7 p.m. Central. It's 6. Yeah, I think it's 6 p.m. Eastern. I think I don't know.
No,
It's
no, I think it's like around 8 because it's usually when
okay.
I'm trying to.
Okay.
Yeah, it's usually
Eight,
when I'm
eight,
trying to wind down or cooking something, for me
Oh,
and the
okay.
wife and
8
stuff like that.
p.m. 8
Yeah, I
p.m.
think.
Eastern, 7
Yeah,
p.m. Central, Pacific. I have no idea. Maybe what is that? 5? Maybe
yeah.
about 5, 6, something like maybe 5 p.m. But come check it out, Xbox 44H channel. That's been my brother, man, ever since we've been doing it. We've been doing that podcast for 7 years. So
Yeah,
it's
and
been
you
it's
guys
been a
do
minute.
great, man. You guys have a nice dynamic, even when things get a little heated, man. That's kind of like when I enjoy it, because
Oh yeah.
you got your ideas bouncing back and forth, man, and everybody's got big opinions, big egos, man. But
Oh yeah.
everybody, we're all alpha males, man. So we kind of want to
Oh
get our
yeah.
word in there, and our
No
opinions. So
doubt. No doubt. No doubt. And then Fight Night Sunday. That's it. Sunday night, 9:30 p.m. Unless there's a football game going on, and then I usually do it around 10:30. But yeah,
and you
so
and you
nine.
cycle fighting games, right? You always cycle different fighting games, or are you
Yeah.
kind of consistent?
Oh no. I cycle through fighting games. Like I mean, it's sometimes there's a lot of times there's people that come in and join us, and then we all pick a certain fighter to play. And then sometimes just like this last past Sunday, I was by myself and I played Dead or Alive 6, and then I played My Hero Academia, I think.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, so and played that as well. Was trying to get an online match to play Samurai Showdown, but couldn't find it. So couldn't find a match. So that sucked. But other than that, yeah, no, we play all different types of fighters. I mean, also like if people want to play fighters on PC, I got plenty of PC games on PlayStation 4. I got plenty of PlayStation 4 fighters. So it's whatever. I just like playing fighting games. Hope you guys can check us out Sunday night. And then that's pretty much it, man. I got a new podcast that I'm going to start here. Hopefully by the end of February. It's going to be
Oh,
completely different
okay.
than gaming. It's going to be a little bit more. It's going to be fun, but but we're going to talk about all different types of things. And hopefully people will start checking that out. So, but yeah, Come and check us out, man. I really do appreciate it. KMega405 is the channel. I'm on Twitter at KMega4. And man, God bless y'all, man. Thank you so much, man, for having me on,
You
man. It was
got
an
it, man.
honor.
Thank you for being on the third episode of the Wolfpack Gaming Podcast, man. And yeah, man, thank you. I just want to go before you go. I just want to say, K Mega, that I wish you nothing but success in 2022 and going forward.
100%.
Health is a big thing, you know,
Oh,
especially
yes.
with what's going on, brother. So
Hmm.
I wish you and your family nothing but health and your loved ones. And let's keep it going, man. Let's keep this train going. You know, this is my third show. And I know you've already surpassed 200, man. But I want to firmly believe this, man. You're gonna be up there one day, brother. You're gonna be up there one day.
I
I
hope
just
so,
know it,
but
man.
it's more so I do it for the love and
Yeah,
yeah, you want people to recognize you and things like that. But man, it's but I've had an honor of meeting some fantastic content creators and people that wants to get into it, or just listeners as well. So man, it's a blessing all the way around to just
yeah,
be talk amongst people amongst my peers, man, and just chop it
yeah.
up with them, man. It's great. It's great stuff, man.
And like I mentioned before I let you go, it's not about the number of subscribers, man. It's not about the number of views. It's about the impact that you have on individuals like myself, making me want to do this, inspiring me. And those numbers go unaccounted for, brother. But just know that you're making a difference, man. All right.
I
I want
really
you to
do
know that.
appreciate it, man. Thank you, man. Thank you. Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you.
So,
All
all
right.
right, guys. Until the next one, thank you so much. And peace.
All right. Go Rams Sunday.